Hello and welcome to the Saladcast on Sunday the 31st of July 2016. I'm your host Dan Trade. Joining me today Zachary Burgess and Robert Kemp.
Ooh.
Do that again.
Yeah, no, I didn't think of anything quick enough.
That was why I haven't laughed how you did that. Like, I couldn't think of anything, so I was just going to try and make the noise you made backwards. Except it's not really possible because I made a very short noise.
Ooh. Woo-woo. Woo-woo.
That's just labouring it. I don't think that's making it any more like what Zach said backwards, is it?
Woo. No, it's sort of like looping in both directions. It's like it's a bounce. It's woo.
Oh, I see.
It's a bounce. Lol.
Lol.
Lol. It's a woo lol. How is everybody?
Lol backwards is lol.
Yep. But it wouldn't sound like that. It would be like lol.
Yep.
Because the actual flick of the tongue is actually difficult to do backwards.
You have to sort of do a reverse flick at the end of lol 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 lol. Good, thanks. How are you guys doing?
I have been bitten by bugs once again.
Oh no! How did that happen? You went outside the house.
I went outside. Yeah.
What's the deal? Why'd you do that? You're gonna get bitten by bugs if you do that.
Yeah, I know. Went for another run, and now my ankle's looking a bit red.
Get better socks.
Yeah, that is the problem. Like when I run, I do wear like trainer socks, so my ankle is exposed. So I might have to.
Why is that? Does that help with the keeping cool with those trainer socks? Is that what they're for?
But I guess. Well, I guess so you don't have to wear like long socks with shorts, right? Which looks a little silly. I don't know. This is the whole socks and sandals thing, right? Like you shouldn't do, but it's like long socks and shorts. Is that or like normal socks and shorts? Is that okay?
Normal socks and shorts, is that bad?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
Do you have to cut off all the way down to the?
You should have to pretend you're a footballer at some point, because then you they always have long socks because of shin pads. So you have to that's a legitimate way to wear long socks and shorts, but only if you're wearing shin pads. So you just have to pretend.
Do they actually wear shin pads?
Yes. Football. Of course they wear shin pads. What are you talking about?
It just doesn't really look like it because shin pads are like massive.
Yeah,
really.
They have long socks.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely wear those, I'm pretty sure. But my question is still, is that what those trainer socks are for? So you can like sweat more off your ankles or something?
I guess. I honestly don't know.
I don't know, because if you think about like old school like gym socks, these are like super thick.
Yeah.
And, like that, you'd think that would be bad. Like you'd think that would absorb too much sweat and heat, but maybe it's meant to absorb the sweat and then it gets out easier through the cloth or something. I don't know.
Because then it's not actually cooling you, unless you've got like unless they're made of like wicking fabric or whatever.
Yeah, maybe.
These are weird. Those trainer socks that don't have anything above the ankle.
Or just coat your ankle in something before you go out.
Or what, just wax my ankle up or something.
Yeah, just put something on it.
Well, presumably I want to be careful that I don't put it in put it in something that the bugs actually like.
Well,
like for some reason, like when I said wax, in my head
you thought you'd be attracting bees.
No, it was worse than that. The image in my head of me dipping my foot in something like was actually honey.
Okay.
Like just like dipping my foot in honey.
What, to prepare for a run?
Yeah, so I want that sugary sweet stickiness in my feet. I don't want to stay glued to my shoe.
Yeah, it gets you grip or something.
Internal grip.
Internal honey grip.
Should patent that. Sell it to Nike. Now with internal honey grip technology. It's the stuff they put in those little bubbles, right? You know, when they make the shoes all spongy and stuff like that, and they used to have like little air pockets or whatever. And now it's filled. Now it's filled with super honey grip.
Is this another Robco invention? Honey filled trainers.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's worth a try.
I guess these would be quite heavy. Depending on how much honey you need.
Yeah, I think the whole reason that you put air in there is to make it spongier. It's like if you're put your liquid or almost gel in there, that probably doesn't work as well. The whole point of having air is it's compressible.
Well, there's a specific brand of shoes called Gel by Asics called Gel Kayanos that have like gel sponging. But...
Kayanos?
Yeah.
What, like?
A bit like kayak, except you put no on the end.
It's weird.
Kayano,
but not Keanu.
Kayano. Not no. There's no Reeves involved.
Reeveless.
My shoes are Reeveless. I can't fly through the air and pause randomly. Matrix shoes. If they've got Reeves, then you're doing Matrix moves. With
Reeves technology for hanging midair. Yeah. I don't think that's going to help your lap times if you just pause midair.
No. But you can have a very dramatic finishing pose.
That's true.
You cross the line and just be like, boom.
So you have to like be already fast enough to beat everyone by like a good 5 seconds, and then you could do a dramatic ending. Do you do a dramatic ending pose at all, or do you just go flop?
No, well, my dramatic ending pose is lying on the floor,
dying,
heaving for any kind of air to enter my lungs.
But you unfortunately replace the air with honey, so
yeah,
or gel. It's not working out.
The shoes pop at the end of the race, and there you go. You've got a little sugary reward for completion. Or maybe it's like an emergency marathon tool. It's like, oh no, I'm feeling a bit bad. I need to pop my shoes.
Let's get some honey out of them shoes.
And somehow pop them into my face while still moving. Actually, there's a challenge. Yeah. You need some kind of honey delivery system to your face.
I think that's going to be a bit heavy for the run.
Well, actually, every time I suppose you don't need much of it. You just need a pipe, right? Because next time you take a step, you'll squeeze the honey into your face.
I think you'd need enough honey to fill the entire pipe, though, for that to work.
Yeah, that's true.
You'd have to have a pipe full of honey already.
You'd have to be running in honey platforms.
You're basically using the shoes as a pump to pump honey into your face.
Yeah. You're wearing your pumps. Yeah.
What style of shoe is a pump? I can't remember. Is it a girl's shoe? Is it or?
I thought are they like sneakers or just those trainers with the massive tongue?
Are they?
I don't know.
I thought they were like a dress shoe or something. Like I thought pumps were like shoes with no laces or something. Is that right?
Like plimsolls?
Yeah, kind of. But more like formal.
Musical interlude.
Someone's funking their way past.
Oh, actually, parking whilst funking.
Yep.
It's a funk park. There you go. Musical interlude over.
Pumps are just flat shoes.
Are they? Yeah, okay. So are they like sneakers? Are they a bit like Vans? Or are they just like, are they laceless, like you said? Oh.
Actually, are they flat? I can't tell. God damn it, Google isn't giving me the answers here.
Or maybe I'm getting confused with pumped up kicks. Maybe they're the ridiculous old massive Skechers with Skechers style shoes that used to actually be pumped up. I don't know.
Shoes.
I don't know anything about shoes.
What about you, Zeg? Have you got any shoes that actually don't have holes in?
Kind of.
Well, I mean, apart from the one you put your foot in.
It's an important hole.
Yeah, that is
the holes that the laces go through. That's kind of important.
Yeah, you need those.
Well, sure, unless you don't have laces, in which case you're hole free.
I have a pair of sandals, but it's really annoying because I can't wear them. It's a really nice pair of sandals, but I can't expose my toes to the elements.
Why?
Because my toes just don't like. Well, I have
your toes covered in honey.
No, my toes are like I have semi-ingrown toenails permanently.
Semi-ingrown.
It's very inconvenient, but it's just not nice to like. They don't want to be exposed to anything more than they are already exposed to, and therefore wearing not socks is not really an option. So I can't wear sandals. I have sandals. They're really nice sandals.
You've always been a sandal man.
Yeah, sandals and shorts. That's kind of your style, isn't it, Zac?
Well,
in the summer. Do you not wear shorts? You used to.
You've got those ridiculous trousers that can collapse into shorts.
You've got 3/4 lengths, not shorts.
Oh, right.
Sorry.
Who wears shorts?
Do they not care? I'm wearing shorts right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Who wears shorts? Me.
And you're wearing socks, also.
Well, yeah, because that's actually... Well, I've sort of got into the habit of wearing socks with my shorts when indoors, partly because my left foot was, like...
Fucked up.
Yeah. Like, not because it was just massive with insect bites and it relieves the itching, but actually before that, it was messed up with athlete's foot really, really badly. And so, sensibly, I didn't want to spread that around.
Yeah.
And I've kind of just got into the habit now of keeping wearing them. Also, it does mean that I don't like wearing shoes without socks on, right?
Well, I just don't like not wearing socks full stop in any situation. It's like when I'm wearing slippers, I'm wearing socks because I don't want to just have my feet in a pair of slippers either.
It's something, yeah, I'm with you on that. It sort of feels a bit weird, I think, unless they're incredibly nice slippers.
Super furry.
Well, unless they're like new.
Yeah.
As soon as they've been worn for any period of time, you're introducing another layer of weirdness.
It's not so bad wearing my Skechers without socks. That's reasonably comfortable. But it just gets scratchy on the heel. Like, all shoes get scratchy on the heel with me if I'm not wearing socks. I have to do that. So if I'm pre-socked, like I am right now, then it's not a problem. I can just slip my shoes on and go. For those dramatic exit moments.
Yeah, clearly.
Like checking to see whether Kippers has left the house unlocked.
Yes, very dramatic exit.
Yeah, so that's happening. My foot is metamorphosizing. Metamorphosing? Did I get it right the first time?
Possibly the first time. Metamorphosizing would be completely changing appearance, though, wouldn't it? Like a caterpillar to a butterfly or something.
Well, from a normal foot into an elephant foot and then back again. It's a temporary metamorphosis.
Temporary elephant foot.
So, yeah.
Elephant foots look quite a lot different to human foots, to be fair. Foots. Foots.
I don't know. There's something quite nice about the word foots. Probably because it's not real. Maybe I just like not real words.
That's quite possible.
Possibly.
Any house grouse going on, Zeg?
Yep.
Oh, he's really enthusiastic about this.
Well, this week we got the gas boiler put in. So
hold on. Is this kitchen bitchin or house grouse?
No, it's house grouse.
Well, it's sort of both.
Well,
let me know if it's...
They took the cooker away, so there's not really been any opportunity to do anything in the kitchen because there's no cooker in there.
Yeah, well, I guess that's your kitchen bitchin' right there.
But it's more
my kitchen bitchin' is that you can't do anything in the kitchen.
Well, I did very much in the kitchen anyway.
As long as you can make tea.
Yes, exactly. But like they put the new gas boiler in, and it's like, I mean, you already know this because you own a modern house,
sure,
and I'm sure it's the same wherever that is. But like they call it an on-demand boiler.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's more like a 15 to 20 seconds after demand boiler.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, how is modern technology this bad?
Well, because it still lets the water run from what's in the pipes, I guess, before...
No, it's like it doesn't turn the fucking flame on until you turn the thing on, so it takes forever to heat up the water when it's coming through the...
That's a little different from our system, yeah. We still have a tank and stuff, and it comes from that. But
sure, but it's just like why is modern technology? Who decided that to get rid of hot water storage tanks was a good idea?
Because people want space in modern houses is the thing. Yeah, it is more
the hot water tank is just like it was in a cupboard anyway.
Yeah, but just think how much more of that cupboard you could have.
Well, now we don't have any of that covered. In fact, we've got less covered because the boiler is now where the airing cupboard used to be, and where the hot water tank used to be, it's just empty. There's nothing in there now. It's just pipes.
Oh, right. Weird.
I don't know where the airing cupboard's going to be now at this point.
They probably don't have one, right?
Well,
it would just be a cupboard.
Yeah, I guess, because there's no hot water tank to steal warmth
to keep it toasty. Yeah.
But yeah, they put that bloody gas boiler in. It's a goddamn 10 to 20 second demand boiler, which sucks. But the real problem with that is it has a combo sucking with the already sucky tap in our bathroom.
Okay.
Where this tap was always shit beforehand. But it's this really bad tap where you turn it. It's only one tap. You turn it 90 degrees, and the first 90 degrees of turning is turning on and then turning up the cold water. And then you keep turning it, and then the second 90 degrees of turning is turning off the cold water and on the hot water.
Right.
So the further you turn it past 90 degrees, the more hot water you're getting until it's all hot water.
Sure, yeah.
But basically what that means is if you want to run a bowl of hot water, for example, for washing your face or something, basically you have to turn it all the way round to full hot to get hot water to come out of it.
Wait 20 seconds for it
to heat up.
Yeah.
But the thing is, before that was annoying because you have to turn it all the way around, and then it's really inconvenient to make it partially hot because you're finding the midway point between cold and hot. And when you're turning it back towards cold, the cold is coming out at maximum speed,
right? Yeah.
Which is real bad. If you want warm water, it's already. But now the trouble with that is that now, because the hot water is essentially at the same pressure as the cold water, the hot water comes out as fast as the cold water does. So when you're running hot water, it's blasting the shit out of there so fucking fast.
Because I guess it's at max open,
because it's maximum speed when you're trying to get the hot water, and you're waiting for it to heat up. And it's the hot water comes out of that tap. Well, no, the warming up water comes out of that tap so fast that it comes out of the tap faster than the drain in the sink can drain it.
Right.
So by the time the hot water is coming out hot, the bowl is already half full of cold water. It's this is really dumb.
Yeah, that hasn't been thought through.
Nice.
Can we just get normal taps?
Yep, that's apparently what's going to happen. We're going to get rid of that shit tap at last, even though it was shit beforehand. It was shit when we had low pressure hot water.
Because modern taps are two-dimensional, aren't they? You turn them left or right for hot or cold, and up and down for pressure, right?
Yeah.
So you can
some of them,
choose. Yeah, some of them.
So that's going to have to be replaced, but it's not going to solve the problem of the slow heating up of the boiler, which is just annoying. But not really that much different than having a hot water tank, I guess.
Is it a lot hotter when it does come?
It takes a long time to get hot, and I wouldn't have said it's that much hotter.
Okay, so you don't get burned by it when it finally changes. I've had ones where you're waiting and then you suddenly get burned.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's not a sudden change as well. It does. Well, the thing is, this might only be a problem in summer when the heating's not on. Because when the heating's on, the burner will be on already.
Yeah, so it might be instant.
It won't be a problem, yeah. You don't need the hot water as much in the summer, to be honest, even for washing your hands and stuff. You're not it's nice, but I don't know. It's not as vital.
It's just annoying.
The house grouse.
The house grouse.
And it was very inconvenient to just ridiculous construction work for the entire week, ripping up floorboards every day.
Yeah.
And there's a surprisingly large number of pipes under some of those floorboards. In the corridor outside my bedroom, you lift up the floor, and it's how are there that many pipes there? Where do all these pipes go?
Well, I guess you did have stuff in your roof, didn't you, at one point? There was something up there because it leaked badly.
Well, that's the cold water tank.
Okay. You have a cold water tank?
Of course.
Why do you need a cold water tank?
For its overflow. It's not really for cold water. It's the buffer for the hot water and the cold water.
Yeah, interesting.
That's why it overflows, because it also goes out the overflow pipe, which is why that drips.
I don't think we have one of those.
And that's also another thing that got fucked up when they installed this. They have their pipe that comes out of the boiler, the condensation pipe, which is essentially overflow. So they put that out where the old overflow pipe used to be, but they fucked up the guttering.
Right.
Because it comes out from under the roof tiles and jams against the guttering and then goes into the drain pipe that goes down there. but it's jammed so hard against the guttering, it bent the guttering downwards, and now the guttering doesn't drain properly, and it just overflows.
Yeah.
It's like, God damn it!
What, when it rains as well?
Yep.
Great. Couldn't you have pointed that out to them, or did they just
that's proper craftsmanship, that is.
They seem to do everything else all right, although some of the floorboards feel a bit uneven in some places. But I'm just like, I don't really remember.
Yeah, were they uneven before, and you're just noticing that those floorboards are there now?
It was surprising. Didn't seem to take much effort to get the cooker out, which was good, I guess. Irrelevant.
Must have been super heavy, though, right?
Yeah, you would have thought so. That they got it out like quite easily down the back path. New cooker hasn't arrived, so we'll see what happens with that.
Oh, okay, so you've just got a massive absence.
Yep, there's just a hole.
How's your microwave mealing going?
Well, it's we've got that convection oven, so it's fine. It's like a proper cooker, and we've got a one of those magnetic hot plate things.
Oh, induction.
Yeah,
you've had that convection oven as long as I can remember. Haven't you?
Different one.
Was it different?
Probably not the same one.
Okay.
It was from when you remember.
Yeah. Okay.
Not the bacon microwave.
Yes, it's one of those. So yeah, that's been annoying and inconvenient, and like loud.
Rob, you got any house grass?
Not really. Nothing really has changed in the last couple of weeks for me. I'm trying to think. It's been a busy couple of weeks for me, but like for no particularly good reason. It's been I say for no particularly good reason. One of those good reasons was I went to a wedding yesterday. Which is always fun. That's a good reason.
I went to a stag do.
Oh boy!
Yesterday.
How brutal was it?
Pretty. I mean, it ended up in a really shit club. So, and I mean, it was drinking all day as well. So, yeah, it was pretty brutal. But it's got to be done, I guess. Oh dear.
You guess?
It was out. It wasn't in London.
Technically, no, it doesn't happen.
Yeah, it was out. It was out in Bristol. So, like you can actually find a properly shit club there, whereas in London, it's like they're all too like expensive to be shit. Do you see what I mean? Or like you'd have to go out to Essex or something, or to like Croydon or something. I don't think going to
London. I don't think going to a bad club is necessarily part of the
it was
requisites for a stag.
It was the end of it. I mean, we did like one of those locked in a room things.
So wow! Cool. Okay, yeah. What's that like?
Oh, it was fun. You'd like it, that sort of thing.
Did you get out?
Yeah. Yes. Only just though. Yeah. We're pretty dumb. Well, I'm pretty dumb. Although I solved a couple of the things, so it was good. Work as a team, I guess.
Yeah, you have to split your efforts, don't they, to have any chance?
Yeah. I don't think I'd be any good at like the Crystal Maze one that they're doing in London now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Quite a lot of people seem to be very keen on doing that. It sounds expensive as hell. It's definitely not worth it, in my opinion. But not that I've done it, but I just assume it's not worth it. But maybe it's probably a lot of fun if you do it with the right group.
Yeah.
Apparently, they put a lot of effort into it. So even this little locked in a room thing was not bad, to be honest.
No, it's a weird thing, isn't it? Like this is suddenly a thing, but I guess like you have to. I guess it does. It can still work as long as they refresh them periodically, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Like the problem with one of those experiences is like you do it once and then you actually can't go back, right?
No, you can't. It's the same. Yeah, they did have more rooms upstairs that had different puzzles in. Apparently, they were harder, but it is. Just that's it, and please don't tell anyone the solutions.
Yeah, and for the most part, I don't think I've heard of any real super spoilering going on with those things. So.
No, people are quite good about these things. It's been
nice.
Quite a lot of praise, and I saw a news article about how cool it is that everyone who's seen this Harry Potter play hasn't spoiled it for people.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I've heard pretty much nothing come out of that. So.
Yeah. Apparently it's really, really good.
But
if you want to go and see it, you probably have to wait a year or something.
That's if it's still running in a year. Yeah.
Oh, it will be, I bet. It'll probably run for ages.
They'll probably make a film of it in a year.
Well, they've already got Fantastic Beasts coming out.
What's Fantastic Beasts?
Oh, it's
for it on YouTube the other day.
It's a spin-off.
It's Wizards in New York.
It's in New York in the 30s or something, right? But it's
Wizards, that actually sounds kind of cool.
No, it could be cool. Wizards. It's Eddie Redmayne.
Wizards.
There might be gangsters. When is it set?
There might be
20s
gangsters,
or the
but
30s?
there'll be gangster wizards.
Yeah, we never know.
Tommy gun. No, in the 20s.
Yeah, so that might be quite good.
Ballin'.
You seen any movies lately? Do you see the Ghostbusters or whatever?
No, we didn't see Ghostbusters. I mean, we sort of want to, but like it seemed to go off at least in Ipswich, it went off the convenient time schedule.
Oh right, yeah,
real quick. So we did check out that Star Trek Beyond, though.
Yep, I've seen that.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty. Right? It's not bad.
It's
yeah.
It's not the first film.
No,
the first film was still better.
Much better than the second one, though.
Oh yeah.
I really didn't like that second one. This one was pretty good.
I felt like they'd scaled it back significantly, and that worked. If you know what I mean, it wasn't quite so epic, and as a result,
worked better.
It felt better for it. Yeah, lower your stakes.
But even then,
lower your stakes. There's still millions of lives, and plenty of people die. And
yeah, and
it has the typical Star Trek problem of no one really cares about the crew, even though the storyline is about saving the crew.
Yeah,
which is always the Star Trek thing. Yeah,
it's true. I mean, it wasn't super Star Trek-y like the old movies, but it worked really well as a kind of modern.
Well, yeah, and they didn't invent any more stupid technologies, right? No. They didn't, and they basically just didn't even address the fact that, hey, we have a teleporter that can go across the entire universe.
No. They did do that. They did do that thing again that they did in the first film, where mysteriously, like, mining equipment is way more powerful than the Federation's best starship and weapons.
Oh yeah,
which was really weird. I guess in the first one it was mining equipment from the future, but
they sort of explained that at one point, vaguely.
Yeah, they just add a line in, and that just explains it usually.
Yeah, and it did have one of those ridiculous sequences where everyone suddenly knows what the plan is at the same time, and so everyone needs to have a line to explain the plan.
Right,
in
yeah.
quick succession.
Yeah.
So then we'll do this, then we'll do this, then we'll do this, and that will work like this, won't it?
And during that section, there was an excellent space reference.
Was there?
Did you notice that? Yeah.
No.
I mean, so Spock is explaining to Kirk in Technobabble what the plan is, and Kirk says, skip to the end.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I missed that.
Which is clearly awesome, because Simon Pegg, co-wrote it. So that was pretty cool. Although it was pretty obvious that he co-wrote it, because there was a lot more Scotty in than there has been ever before.
There was a lot more Scotty in it, yeah. But, that's fine.
Which is cool. At least Bones was in it as well.
Yeah. No, they make good use of the cast. There's no I have no problems there. Although, Noam's not wrong in that she just goes, oh man, that guy that plays Bones, Carl Urban, he's really bad.
Right, yeah.
But, he's kind of bad in the same way that I think Bones should be bad.
Right, yeah. Because Bones was always, quite over the top or whatever.
Yeah.
His actor guy. But
he's
Forrest Kelly, whatever his name is.
Don't know. But it was always everything that could possibly happen was you had to get all emotional about. Okay, just be angry at everything. And that carries over, so that's fine.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, thumbs up.
Yeah, good film. Back on form. But what are they going to do now? They can't have they obviously can't have Chekhov back, and Chekhov actually played a bit more of a role in this one.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll think of something. I think that what I heard was they're going to do one with Kirk's dad. So they're going to bring Chris Hemsworth back, who was in the first film as Kirk's dad in the opening sequence.
Huh. They'll have to oldify Hemsworth quite a bit, yeah.
He dies.
He died.
In that. So
it's going to be in the past.
It'll be some kind of time travel thing.
No, the Star Trek Generations again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Except, like, within their own, like, there won't be no TNG reference. Do you reckon they'll ever go TNG with this?
I mean, they had the Enterprises. Oh, no, I was about to spoil something.
Forget
it.
Yeah.
Never mind. Right. Let's move on to video games, shall we? Because this is supposedly a podcast about video games. Is that true?
Not for the first 30 minutes.
Have we not gone past that?
Oh, no, we've got like a whole 10 seconds before.
Oh, shit.
A whole 10 seconds to not talk about video games.
Quick, Zeg, introduce a topic for the last 5 seconds.
Too late, Rob went and picked up his phone.
Fine.
It's news time.
It's time for news.
Although I have got to wait for it to load, so give me a minute.
Well, I don't think there's much news to news about. So.
Well, there's a little bit of missed news that I always want to get done first.
For no apparent reason.
Oh,
it's so irrelevant at this point.
So,
2 weeks old news.
Yeah, I know. I didn't really write this. Oh no, it was missed points about Rise of the Tomb Raider. Yeah, and stuff I meant to say but didn't.
Yeah,
but never mind. We can actually skip that. That was it. Actually, it might be worth mentioning. You know that Big Bang Theory joke about Indiana Jones. I think it's Raiders of the Lost Ark, where actually when you analyse it, Indiana Jones has no part to play in the plot at all.
I think that's a Big Bang joke. I think that's just a well-known meme about those films.
We might have come from Big Bang. I don't know, but anyway, yeah, it's like that was the comparison I ended up drawing. It's like, oh, actually, when you think about it, Tomb Raider's a lot like that. Like in the main battle sequences and stuff like that, it's like you're just sort of there. You're not actually pivotal to most of it.
Right, yeah.
I don't think it matters about the combat. It's the actual story that's the important.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, the story progresses sort of on its own for the most part, whether you're there or not. For the most part. There's a couple of moments where it does actually matter. But, yeah. You help a bit and change a little, is my note here. You help a bit.
Okay.
Let's get to the big news, though.
The big news for the Saladcast, or for us, anyway.
For us, anyway, yeah. So we knew this was coming. We knew that Sega were doing something for Sonic's 25th anniversary, which, by the way, if you go look at what they did for Sonic's 25th anniversary, the live show they did is possibly the worst thing you will ever see. It's unbelievably bad. Not only because the stream is actually kind of unwatchable because of the sound quality being awful, but boy... I feel bad for the people in that crowd. Like it looked awful.
I don't think it was a problem for the people in the crowd, really.
I know, but it just generally looked awful. There was some guitar playing. That's fine.
Okay.
But we did get, as promised, a new game announcement, and then there was another new game announcement.
Bum, bum, bum.
So let's talk about the one we know more about first of all, Sonic Mania, which is a terrible name.
Yep.
Anything with Mania in it is just straight out of the mid-90s, right?
I mean, that was maybe what they were going for.
Yeah, maybe, but...
Should have just called it Sonic Crackers and actually brought that into and made it a real game.
Yeah, but that was Sonic. That was what Chaotix became, right?
Yes.
Sonic Crackers. Like, wasn't that ROM also sort of labelled Sonic 4?
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
It was real fucked up.
Yeah, it was real weird. So Sonic Mania is a return to very much the... I want to say it's a sort of amalgamation of the Sonic 1, 2, and Sonic CD looks.
Right.
So they're going full-on pixel art, full-on... that style. Not like they've tried to take the old Sonic look and up-res it like they did for Sonic 4. They're going all the way back. And it looks interesting. So it's like they've said it's going to be like a blend of remixed old stages with a mixture of brand new stuff. Mm-hmm. So they've basically shown two stages at this point. They've shown the Green Hill Zone level, which mixed bits of Emerald Hill with the first stages of the Mega Drive one. Like with there's just some level design taken straight out of the Mega Drive stages and put into this thing, which a little bit of me is like, that's not that interesting after all, because it's just going to be like Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 again. Which, rather than just a brand new stage, it does look like they've cut and pasted bits of the old stages out, and it's like, maybe that's not so hot. Okay. I mean, they seem to have nailed the look of it, but then how much did they just copy paste the sprites from the old games? I don't know. How much of it has been fully remade? But
they're clearly much higher resolution sprites.
I don't know. Are they?
Yes.
It looks like when I examined it, it looked like actually it's not that much of a bump from the original, in terms of the actual res it's running at.
I would say it's at least double.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe warrants a closer look, but
yeah, I think it might be doubled.
Yeah, maybe. It still looks pixely enough.
Yeah,
that the effect isn't lost. Yeah, and that is due out early 2017.
Oh, not long then. Really? Relatively.
Not long, but like 6 months.
Well, until it gets delayed. Yeah.
Until it gets delayed, yeah.
Right, yeah.
It looks like I think there was a lot of teams involved in making this thing, and I can't remember the names of any of them. I think the music is being the music might be the only guys I can remember. I think it's being made by some a duo called Hyper Potions or something. Who, yeah, I don't know.
Are they the people who? So what's the deal? Are they the people that made Sonic CD or whatever, remade it or whatever, and then got released as officially?
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know. That would sound reasonable, right? So if Sega took on the guy that redid Sonic CD to be like, hey, you seem to know what's up.
I mean, I think they're using his engine. I think it might just be him.
Oh, right. That it's actually just the Sonic CD engine.
No, I mean, because he remade it. I think he basically remade Sonic CD, I think, sort of. Like, he built his own engine and put all the assets into it and tried to make it the same and got so close that they, re-released it. That's kind of my understanding. Rather than I thought
it was different. I thought he went in and literally took the original and fixed all its problems.
Fixed it up. I think it's the other way. I think he started again and got everything from the original into it.
Well, it's not like that hasn't happened several times for several different grades of Sonic. There's all the Sonic 2 stuff. And...
Well, yeah, in theory, the Sonic 2 HD project is still a thing.
Yeah.
Even though that's like 6 years old now, that project was. Yeah. I don't know, it colour me interested. It's they haven't. Yeah, they've tried the retro approach before, but they've always done it from a slightly bizarre angle, right? Sonic 4 isn't what you want. So yeah, this I mean, it looks like it's a Sonic game, like the early ones. So exciting.
Yeah, but the question is, what platforms and how much is it going to cost?
So they've already said that. Well, they haven't said the price, but the platforms, at least, it's going to be PS4, Xbox One, PC, and NX, making it probably the second game we know that's coming to NX. Yeah. Oh, no. Well, maybe I'm getting confused, because my notes are actually about the platform stuff are attached to the other game that they announced, which is as yet untitled, but pretty much looks like it's going to be Sonic Generations 2.
Maybe. Right. Yeah, that's what it looked like from the kind of teaser trailer they released, right? It's like, oh no, the world is in peril. Sonic can save, but Sonic isn't enough. We need someone else. The old Sonic as well.
The other Sonic.
yeah, the other Sonic.
So I'm immediately slightly worried about this one from the tone of the trailer. The tone of the trailer is like, oh, this is super epic, and I really hope that was a giant piss take.
I hope so.
It is.
No,
it's not like Generations theoretically didn't have an epic story. It's just that they didn't make much story. It could have been a lot more epic if they wanted to extrapolate on their Time Eater malarkey, but they just were like, no, let's just have a really basic story and just leave it at that for this game. Yeah, you could easily convert that into a more epic time travel. Massive destruction.
But I don't want my Sonic games to be anything to do with that. I want my Sonic games to be like Sonic Colors, that sort of irreverent, we don't really care too much, we're just having a bit of a laugh storyline. I want it like Sonic Boom the cartoon, not Sonic Boom the game.
But it's still they can still have the, epicness of it to some extent.
To some extent, yeah, as long as the majority of it isn't like that.
And it's like, regardless of the setting, it's still fucking Sonic. So at a certain point, it's always still irreverent because that's just what that character is.
Well, you'd hope. I don't know.
So even Sonic 2006, for as dumb as that got when that tried to be like dramatic and epic with like giant burning city and stuff, it still was dumb Sonic game at a certain stage as well.
Sure. Yeah, the 06's tone was too far in that. And like even though that's a dumbass game through and through, it played itself a little bit too seriously.
Yeah,
for me. Yeah. So Generations. Even if they call it something else, well, it looks like it's going to be a Generations style game.
Yeah, but you don't really know that.
No, we don't. We haven't seen any gameplay, but I'd be surprised if it wasn't.
It's either Generations 2 or it's a Sonic game where both characters play levels.
Oh god, this is Sonic Crackers.
Well, it's either because if it's Generations 2, that implies that the levels are going to be reimaginings of old levels. Whereas maybe. This could be a new game, like with completely new levels and stuff, but just with that character mechanic.
Just with both classic and modern styles. Yeah, I think you're right. Actually, maybe they can't. Maybe they don't want to go into the well of making another one of those again.
Yeah.
Like, maybe they will have to be all original. In which case, that's even more interesting.
I think that's more likely.
More bad. That's where they could get into, like, making it too epic.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, all the levels are going to be dark and
all the
destroying
levels.
Cities and shit.
Yeah. Although, if they did a casino world that was a bit destroyed, that could be interesting.
Right? I guess.
Yeah. But, like, the neon sort of half works. Or the Knuckles comes and turns off the lights.
Yes, exactly.
There's a lot. I don't think they couldn't plumb the wells and make a Generations 2.
Yeah.
And, as we've said, there's a lot of levels that perhaps they tried. There's just a lot of good levels they didn't touch.
Yeah, exactly.
In the last one, or that they sort of did touch and put them on the DS version, and maybe they would have been better in the full one. I don't know.
What I want to know is like if we're still sticking with the time travel thing, apparently, because the two Sonics exist, when are we going to go back to Sonic CD? I mean, come on. They didn't even have one Sonic CD level in Generations apart from that Metal Sonic boss fight, technically.
Yeah,
that barely counts.
Yeah, they brought back Metal Sonic and sort of alluded to the music of that.
And the level, I guess, Stardust Speedway.
Sure.
It was in that style. It was just a straight platform. That's not actually... that doesn't count.
Yeah, no, so they didn't touch any of CD. But then I'm not entirely sure that CD's levels were that, other than perhaps the sort of techno, like Green Hill Zone or whatever they called it.
Well, I think what they should I don't know, what they should try and do for, if it was another Sonic Generations, is try and add more of the like sub-mechanics. Because they had like the Wisps in the Planet Wisp level.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's fine. But let's have a Sonic CD level where you time travel, just because. Irrelevantly, but just do it. Maybe like not a like failable time travel. Just make it like part of the level that you just go into a time travel sequence at a certain point and it changes all the look of the level or something. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe if it's purely visual, like just part of the stage. Yeah, I mean that's a cool thematic thing to do. Especially if you're doing like if the Time Eater's back or whatever.
Or I was thinking the ultimate, like clearly the ultimate version of this game with the two Sonics thing is not actually to do it in Generation style where you have one Sonic and the other Sonic. You do it like Sonic CD where you time travel, but when you time travel it just changes into the old Sonic 2D levels.
Oh, that could be fun.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That could be fun, yeah. Or would you do something like Crush where it's like perspective changing? Well,
that'd probably be quite difficult to do on a Sonic level scale.
Yeah. Still.
They have this whole game that was based about time travel, and they even have a dumb story with like the Tiny Planet and all that bullshit. It's like you could totally bring that back for your new time travel game, rather than just this random Time Eater shit that comes out of nowhere from their parent.
It's going to be it's way more workable than Sonic Lost Worlds Lost Hex.
Well, that was also like,
oh boy, that was so.
That
bad.
was sort of similar. I mean, technically, really the tiny planet was basically the same as the last text.
Yeah,
it's just
much.
Like, here's a thing that we didn't really know about before, but now we found it.
It's in the sky.
Yeah, it's just there. It just happens to be hanging out.
Sonic CDs is a little cooler though, right? The little planet that's for some reason chained to Mobius.
Yep. And also
oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, Sonic Mania going to go back to Mobius.
They're not going to say. It's going to be generic Sonic world.
Well, as long as there's no humans, right? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter. It's like Sonic Rush, where it's like we're going to travel into an alternate dimension that is just basically like Sonic's world, apart from with Blaze for no reason.
Yeah. And I don't know, Styx was Boom.
No, yeah. It was Cream though for some reason, wasn't it? That was the weird bit where you travel into the alternate dimension where it's Blaze and Cream.
I suppose Cream had Cream been in the game before?
The GBA ones.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's true. Cream the rabbit.
And then Rush Adventure, where it's like Blaze again, but now we've got other characters.
But you're not even in another dimension on that one.
Yeah, you are.
Are you?
You have to get the Soul Emeralds.
Oh, yeah.
Do all that shit.
Yeah, but the Sun Emerald. Because you're in the sunny zone. Suntown.
The trouble is that if this does follow on from Generations, surely what the story of this is going to be is really obvious, where it's like Robotnik who gets trapped in limbo at the end of Generations and other Robotnik. They're going to come up with a plan to manipulate time, and that's going to lead into all this bullshit.
Of course they are. Yeah.
Let's hope it doesn't follow on from Generations. Let's hope they come up with a better story.
The actual story, I don't really, like we said, as long as it's not, I don't actually care what the story is in a Sonic game, as long as it's presented in a jokey enough manner,
but this
and the jokes actually land, then it's fine. Like the actual what the story is really doesn't matter.
But this would be like the time to actually have a story again, maybe. Because they haven't had a story for discounting Boom, because that was so different
and bad
and based on like this entire different universe, basically.
What, you think you want them to go back to like Sonic Adventure 2?
Well,
like, because Sonic Heroes, does Sonic Heroes count?
Well, exactly. I mean, that's the thing. You've got like Heroes, and then you've got like Colors and Generations, and they all have a story, but it's such a vague, like barely their story in all of
Colors is just the right amount of story, if you ask me, for a Sonic game.
I don't know.
And actually one of the best presentations for it.
I mean, sure, it's good, but I don't think there's much more than there was in Generations or Heroes, really.
I think there's a little bit more than Generations. Is like there isn't really a story. You just go from place to place.
Sure.
Like, at least for Colors, it's like they do. Again, it's not really story progression, but they do have a few cutscenes that do stuff.
Yeah, but those cutscenes aren't even mostly to do with the story.
No, they're not.
They're just like characters talking to each other for a minute about nothing.
Potentially discovering something or beating up their crazy voice-changing robot people.
So yeah, there basically hasn't been like a Sonic game with a story since like 2006 probably.
Oh god.
And that had way too much of a story.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also introduced a bunch of unnecessary characters.
I like to think Sega know what they're doing now, to some degree. Like, Lost World wasn't great, but they sort of tried something stylistically nice and conceptually nice,
I guess.
But like they actually didn't really execute on it. It's like I think if they go back, they got it spot on with Generations and spot on with Colors, and if they're and if it is the Sonic CD guy, then I have faith that they're going to get Mania right.
Sure.
That's
a separate concern.
Yeah, there's definitely a separate concern, but it's like I like in general, like it. Of late, it feels like Sega have understood a little bit better.
Apart from Boom, we're just completely skimming over the most recent Sonic game, which is a big pile of crap.
Good point. Yeah.
On the plus side, at least like there's no sign of the Sonic Boom style to Sonic in this new generation.
No, it's definitely nothing to do with
regular ass Sonic.
Although they did say that Sonic Boom is going to have a season 2 on the cartoon.
I mean, sure. I mean, that's fine
because that seems to have done quite well for itself, and is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Cue Coca-Cola opening.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh, I splashed my leg. We're not sponsored by Coca-Cola, by the way. Insert generic brown fizzy drink here.
Other generic brown fizzy drinks are available.
Yeah.
So that's the Sonic news.
What is the taste of cola? Is cola just a taste? Like, is there what is the flavour that cola is?
It's the taste of cocaine, but with none of the drugs.
Okay.
I don't know how true that is, but I'm not about to find out.
I doubt that's actually true.
I don't know. You see, like in cop shows, don't they? Like the cops, like would lick something and like seem to know exactly what it is.
That's to probably, see if you can tell it's cocaine when it's drugs. No, it probably does cause a very specific flavour.
I don't think it's that. Yeah, I think it's to test if you go numb and then it's real. Yeah.
Huh.
So supposedly you could tell if it was real
like Coca-Cola
because you rub it on your gums and they go numb, right? But then so if somebody figured out that cutting it with something totally inert, which is what they normally do to water it down,
an anesthetic.
Yeah, then people. Well, that's the thing. People were cutting it with the inert stuff that didn't do anything, and then people would rub it on their gums to test if it was good, and they didn't go numb. They'd say this shit is shit. So instead, they found a really cheap anesthetic that from some kind of dental thing that they can make in bathtubs, like in China or something. And now they've managed to cut it with something that actually does make your gums go numb, but isn't.
So no one can do that in TV shows anymore.
Yeah, well, they can, but it won't work in real life anymore because you won't be able to tell if it's cocaine from that.
Is it just cocaine, or are there other powders that has that effect?
Oh, there's probably loads, but that's like the main drug. I don't think heroin has that effect because cocaine is like, a painkiller, basically. It's like Novocaine, isn't it? It's basically the same stuff. It's the stuff that they use, that dentists use to actually make your teeth go numb. Is not that far from, like, it's an opiate, isn't it? Oh, no, it's not opiate, is it? No, which way round is it? I can't remember.
I don't know. I always get super confused with drug categories. Because it's clearly a part of my lifestyle that I need to know about.
Yep.
Anyway, yes. What else? Is there any...
So if there's Sonic games coming to the NX, the NX itself has had a reasonable sudden rumour burst.
Yeah. So what's the latest rumour? That, like, it has detachable controllers or something?
Yeah, so Digital Foundry did a little thing on this that's actually quite an interesting watch, and some of it is speculation, and they're quite open about that. But and they talk about it being their sources have told us,
right,
that it's like this.
Well, apparently a bunch of people have sources. Yeah. So it seems like there might be either there's a lot of sources or there's just one person who's going around to everyone.
Yeah, who really wants the monies. I've got this hot scoop. So it sounds like it actually might be somewhat similar to the look of the Wii U's gamepad, but in that it is a portable.
It has a screen in it, and then two thumbstick things on either side and some buttons.
But those thumbstick things are actually detachable controllers. So two players can potentially have a controller associated with this screen. The rumor.
If it's two players, I don't know.
Yeah.
If you're holding half a controller each, but then one person holding a nunchuck and one person holding a Wii remote.
Yeah. But then what's not necessarily been 100% defined is this really a true the true that to me doesn't sound like it's actually maybe the portable. Or handheld console hybrid that maybe we thought it was going to be. This sounds like actually it's just a console with a screen, right?
What? Why? Because that's exactly what it is.
Well, no, but it depends how if it's that big and is that really a handheld at that point? If it's like a tablet sized.
I don't see why it wouldn't be. The 3DS isn't that much smaller than a Wii U gamepad if you turn it the other way.
Yeah, but it folds.
What about the 2DS?
Well, that doesn't fold. But
what about anyone who ever plays a game on a fucking iPad? They're gigantic.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's okay these days, but I don't know. I consider
what about the Game Gear?
The Game Gear would have been smaller if they could have made it smaller. The screen was tiny.
Well, the Game Gear was basically only gigantic because it had so many batteries in it.
Yeah, it had like 6 AA batteries, and they went.
I think it was 8, wasn't it?
No, it was 6. It was 6.
3 on each side.
Yeah, and they did make up probably about at least a third of its size was battery. Although that's probably not that far off modern tech, right? Like I don't know. Anyway, whatever. So that's the rumor that it's that kind of form factor. Presumably, it has some kind of TV ability to like play on TV as well, but it doesn't sound like from these rumors that it means like the original rumor was that hey, when it's maybe in portable mode, it has less power than when it's in console mode.
That doesn't seem to be right. Yeah.
No, it seems like it's just one thing, right? Which kind of makes logical sense from the development standpoint, right? No one wants to be trying to make a portable mode and a console mode for every game they make. But that still might be a thing. Like, so this got me wondering. It's like if they have a TV out and this little extra screen, is the little extra screen or tablet can it still be like? So they can do games that have one thing on one screen and one thing on the other screen. Are they still attached to this idea of dual screen play?
They don't seem. I mean, if you look at the Zelda, it doesn't seem to have that much going on. In terms of
that game doesn't count because that's also still designed for the Wii U.
Yeah, but they'll have to work on NX. So the fact that they're downplaying the second screen thing kind of
indicates that maybe it's not important.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe we just don't know on that front, but so like the sources say that it is pretty much going to be like a it's tablet technology basically. It's got the current rumor states fairly specifically that it has an NVIDIA Tegra X1 chip in it,
and they're quite powerful, right? For mobile.
They are probably I think they're the most powerful graphics chipset you can get for mobile platforms. But there is like based on NVIDIA's new Pascal technology that's in the 10 series cards, there is an X2 chip coming fairly soon. So the thinking is that maybe this is a temporary placeholder and hence why they haven't announced anything or can't release until March because they're waiting for the X2 chipset to actually be manufactured. Possibly.
Doesn't seem that likely though, because
it seems a bit. Yeah, it seems
Nintendo aren't cutting edge in any way,
and it seems a bit late in the day for that actually to be a thing.
Yeah, it seems like they've probably decided on the hardware by now.
Yeah. So the X1's a pretty good chipset, and in theory that puts it over the power of a 360 and a PS3, which to me sounds like, oh, actually, you know what? That's not far off from what the Wii U is. So maybe this might not actually be a power bump in its current form. And is that a good idea? Does that have any point? If it's not a power bump over the Wii U, why are they making this? Other than the fact that Wii U as a brand is a bit of a failure.
Oh yeah, that's why. Also because if they make this new system that only has this one screen controller thing because it's the whole thing, they can do away with all the complicatedness of having multiple controllers and all these weird other compatibilities with different controllers that plug in different ways and all that other bullshit. Yeah, throw all that out, just start over.
Do you reckon they will? Do you reckon they will throw away their control legacy?
Well, the thing is that if we're assuming that they're not going to have it play differently when it's plugged into a TV, then you're still operating off one screen, and so you can't really do the Wii U style separate screen thing. I mean, you could theoretically have it sync Wii remotes or something, I guess.
You still need the sensor bar port and stuff like that, then, or have some other form of sense, or maybe the device
if that's attached to the base station part of it. But it's just I don't see it doesn't sound like it's designed to be a console, a multiplayer console. It sounds like it's meant to be like a 3DS, like a solo. You have one.
Apart from the 2 controller rumor.
Well, apart from that's not actually a rumor that suggests multiplayer. That just suggests that you can detach the controllers off the giant heavy screen part when you're playing with it attached to the base station.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, that's an interesting point. I think what most of the stuff I've read has assumed that there's 2 things that detach, therefore it's going to be two little NES controllers or something come out. Or
I mean, they could fit. I mean, you have to assume that those two controllers aren't going to be identical because that would be dumb
when they're attached. Yeah. Well, or would it?
Well, I guess it depends, like, what sort of...
Because if they're attached, you end up with a dual stick controller, right?
It depends what sort of layout you want, I guess. Because, like... Well, as long as... Well, we can only hope that Nintendo have learned not to put the analog stick above the buttons. That'd be nice, for a start.
Right,
sure.
Yeah.
But then, having the analog stick above the buttons is the only way that works as a separate controller. Because if you have the analog stick below the buttons, then when you detach it, it's like the analog stick is in the middle of this little mini controller.
Yeah, it wouldn't work, would it? Yeah, it's interesting. I think they'll probably stick to their design. They might like the symmetry. I don't know. They probably won't offset the sticks. Is all I'm thinking.
Sure. I mean, stick offset isn't that necessary. It's just a
standard, right? Everywhere else.
Well, it's just why is it even a standard?
Because
like who decided that was the easiest way to make it work?
It is a slightly weird thing of controller design, isn't it? That we've ended up with there.
Because it's not like the early PlayStation ones had both the analog sticks at the same height. It's just you didn't normally use both of the analog sticks back in the old days.
Up until PS4, they stayed in the same spot, right, in the middle of the controller, which isn't necessarily the most comfortable place for them to be.
Yeah.
But it was fine, I guess. Although I do have a problem with like all PlayStation controllers, where if you fall off the stick, you tend to fall off onto something important. Like when we're playing Towerfall on PS4. You can fall off the stick onto the PS button really easily. And that happens all the time when we're playing that game with the Cambridge crew. And it's just like, oh, really? And it's like, the things are a little bit too cramped on a PS4 controller. For me, anyway. And for us that have been playing it. There's something about the bulkiness of the bone controller that's nice. I saw some people doing, speaking about controllers, I saw some stuff about people getting their hands on Xbox Design Lab controllers.
Oh yeah,
there's a few of those going out to press people, and it's generally they seem quite impressed with it, because this is the first time they've seen the revision of the Xbox controller, right? Because these are the new Xbox controllers, so there are subtle differences here and there, and generally feedback is positive, other than you might want to be a bit careful about some of the colours you pick, because they look a little bit more vibrant on the website than they do in real life. But that's it's pretty much it is what it says. It is what it says on the tin. So there you go. Also, the big thing everyone seems to like is that they've made the underside of the controller like dimpled slightly. So it's got like a grip on it. And apparently that's really nice.
Oh, that's cool. Is that like a new... I guess, because that wasn't on the Pro one, the Elite one or whatever, was it?
No, the Elite might have it anyway. Right. The Elite has a lot of things on it. I can't actually remember, but it might have that sort of dimpled grip, but now that's just on the normal controllers. And there has been some rumours that actually if you're trying to use the Bluetooth mode on the controllers with a Windows PC, that's actually a terrible way to use that controller, and that Windows actually isn't very good at using Bluetooth controllers.
Oh, really?
On every other platform, like if you try it on Mac and Linux, it's fine.
It's fine. Oh, great.
So on Windows, you're better off still plugging it in or getting one of those wireless adapters to use the proprietary wireless rather than Bluetooth.
Why can't they just make one with a cable? Why an Xbox 360 controller the best controller for PC?
Sure. Because they don't want to make two controllers.
Yeah.
Except they kind of already are, I suppose, if they're making the Elite.
Well, they're making infinite controllers because of all these color combinations.
I guess. Well, yeah, kind of. They've just got a factory making the same parts in different colours, right? That's probably way easier to make the same part in a different colour.
It's just plastic.
Yeah.
It's not like the insides are different.
No. Controllers, Internet, blah 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 blah. No Man's Sky's PC version got delayed.
Well, not much,
by
though.
2 days.
Yeah, okay.
I just thought that was funny to bring up, just to feel like No Man's Sky got delayed again.
Well, it looked like it might be completely fucked when they had that patent problem again.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, although they won, didn't they? Their battles with Sky and
the Sky thing, but not the super formula thing.
What's the super formula thing?
Well, apparently the procedural generation thing, the maths that they used was a patented formula.
Oh,
supposedly.
Wow.
But this might just be patent trolling. It's hard to tell.
Probably.
And even if it is patent trolling, it will just get settled, so it'll be relevant anyway.
This late in the game, Sony will make sure that that's not a problem.
Because it seemed like the patent on this formula, which may or may not be the same formula, is like it's not. It's one of those like patent law things where it's like maybe it's not specific that you can't use it for
something
procedurally
else.
Generated worlds and not 3D. It's like this formula is to make 3D models, and does that necessarily include entire planets? I don't really know. But whatever. It's like it doesn't seem like anything's come of that. No one's been saying anything. It was just like it happened, and then
I guess while it's still, even if it was like, is it one of those things where if it's up in the air, like what it doesn't necessarily stop the product coming out, but like what will happen is it will end up affecting bottom line royalties,
maybe.
Right?
You might just end up having to pay someone.
Yeah, or you'll release a game that can't make money because all the money has to go to the owner of this formula, or some garbage like that. Patents. How stupid they are. I imagine someone probably worked very hard at making that formula and probably has earned his due. So there. Final bit of tiny bit of news. This is, or non-news, I guess you could call it. The Rocket League developers have basically come out and said, we've got crossplay ready to go. We're just waiting for Sony to give us permission. To allow them to do Xbox to Sony to PlayStation crossplay. It's like, so it's got to the point where it's actually all ready, but Sony hasn't said yes. I mean, Sony have never actually said they're open to the idea. Actually no, that's exactly what they said. They said they were open to the idea, but not. That's not a yes, is it? It's like, well, we'll think about it.
Yeah, I thought Microsoft was going to be the one that was more of a trouble, though.
Like,
they took ages to even allow the first half of the crossplay.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, Microsoft have definitely been more cagey about this in the past, unless you're playing a game that is on Xbox and games for Windows.
Yeah.
So they seem to have been super helpful, as it turns out. I guess because Microsoft are playing catch up right now. They'll be open to anything.
It still makes me wonder how that actually manifests when you're playing the PC version. Because it's like when you're going into a server and you're seeing the Cynet people, and it's like they're obviously console players, but which ones are like? Yeah,
we won't know as a PC.
You can't tell. So yeah, we won't see who's who, and presumably the numbers won't go up anymore for us because we already see the total.
Oh, what you mean when you're in the server browser? It doesn't factor in or does it factor in the console?
Well, I assume it does, because it went up at some point. So I assume that number is already factoring in them both, and then it's just like when you join a game and the Cynet people must just, at the moment, it must just be one console or the other, not a mix. But you can't tell. Unless you happen to see someone with an obvious name, where it's like Xbox Guy or something.
Yeah.
Xbox Steve.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it would be nice if it told us like what platform everyone was on, but I guess maybe that's also a problem in itself, because I guess Sony and PlayStation don't want an Xbox logo appearing on their system.
Have a logo or something.
Or vice versa, they probably don't want to say, "Hey, this guy's playing on Steam."
Well, they already know that guy's playing on Steam, presumably.
Yeah, because of the Cynet logo. Yeah. It'd be nice if it could actually just show us that, like, in some respects, does it really matter? It'd be nice if it could just show the player logo, right? And you not know.
Well, to show the player logo is a lot more effort, because then you're having to tap into, like,
cross APIs. But they have to do that anyway, right, to get the multiplayer to work in the first place.
Yeah, but that's not exactly the same thing. And you're having to send that extra data.
But they already... That's no more hassle. It'd be nice. It would be nice. Again, maybe licensing. And for I don't know, PlayStation images might still be in that old realm of Xbox gamer pictures or whatever. Yeah, so there's probably some concerns there. Or also Xbox avatars. Do you really want that stuff appearing on PlayStation? There's going to be license headaches here and there, or people just not agreeing to stuff.
The other thing,
actually, it's probably the other way around, isn't it? They don't want pictures of Steam profile pictures of boobs turning up randomly on PlayStation.
Maybe, but the other, it's always been the thing where I still don't know what the console-specific vehicles appear as to us.
Oh, yeah. Does it just pick a random model?
Well, I suspect that for hitbox purposes, they probably pick one that's similar. I bet the PlayStation ice cream truck of Doom probably appears as the van.
Oh, it's probably just the Merc, yeah.
And, the Warthog probably appears as the other van, that slightly less large van.
Yeah, same with the Armadillo, right? The Armadillo is probably also the van.
Yeah, or the one from the Wasteland pack. That's a similar shape.
Yeah. What do you think of the new cars? The new cars actually look kind of cool.
They look kind of cool, but they all have incredibly annoying engines.
Oh, do they?
They all suck. And there's a bug where, one of them, the sound effect doesn't properly attach to the vehicle sometimes. So you just have a random noise happening somewhere on the pitch.
See, I've not had that happen yet. I've heard you talking about it when we've been playing, but I haven't had the hairdryer effect.
It's very annoying, because, you need to hear when people are coming.
Yeah, in case they're bothering you.
It's an important bit of information.
In case they're going to bob you out of the goal.
Or in case your teammates are coming.
Oh, well, that too. Yeah, I have to keep my ears about me, for noticing when you're boosting up behind me, and it's all right, I better not go for that then.
Yeah, exactly. It's tactical information, because you can't actually look very easily.
Boosting from behind. And that's news. I've got nothing else, really.
Good.
Excellent. Well, we have a whole 1 minute 48 seconds left of news. No, it's. I think that it is over.
Somehow we still managed to create as much news as we usually have.
Yeah, I guess.
That shit about news.
Well, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to Sonic, right? We are the authority on Sonic.
This is true. Right, it's time for what you've been playing. What you've been playing?
We are in no way the authority on Sonic.
Whose turn is it?
I don't know.
Rob?
It might be. Did we end with Tomb Raider last time? Oh, I can't remember.
I think we might have ended with my shit last time.
That doesn't really matter.
Possibly.
Okay.
Doesn't really matter. I've not got a great deal to talk about anyway, so I played a lot of Skullgirls, as it turns out, over the last couple of weeks. Just getting the fight stick out.
You have to use that thing. You have to have a reason for it to exist, so you just play the one game.
Sure, but I'm having a great time. I'm super enjoying it. It's I'm doing harder and harder runs through story mode and stuff like that, and trying to learn new fight styles and stuff like that I'm not necessarily used to. I want to try and get some of the achievements in the game after having none for 10 hours. I've now got a few of them, and it's I don't know. I have a good time with that. It's I've hit some super hard challenges now on certain bits, and it's actually it's that sort of hard that's fun,
right?
If you know what I mean. It's you don't feel super frustrated when you fail. It's you just want to have another go at it, even if it's the AI is super difficult and has 5 times the health bar as you, and is playing as a very combo heavy character that can easily lock you down. It's you're sat there trying to puzzle it out, doing I guess how you should play fighting games, right? It feels like any bit of progress you make, I got chipped off a bit more life that time. It feels like you're being a better player, or worse, you've just found ways to cheese it. You found some cheat tactics with the character you've got. But I don't know. It's a fun kind of hard for me, playing this game. So it's I'm enjoying it quite a bit. That's all I really got to say though. I love playing it with a fight stick. It makes way more sense. I've said that several weeks now, but get a fight stick. It's cool.
If you're a fighting game fan.
If you're a fighting game fan, yeah. I played a little bit of the alpha of Lawbreakers today, which is...
What's that again? Lawbreakers?
Lawbreakers, yeah. It's Cliff Bleszinski and Boss Key Productions' new shooter.
Okay.
I don't know if I can say anything about it because it's a closed alpha. So I'm kind of not.
So I'm just saying that I'm playing closed alpha then?
Someone I know had a key.
Right, okay.
And it was just like, do you want a spare? I've got a spare key. Do you want it? And it's like, all right, let's give this a go. It's a shooter, all right.
Okay, it's a shooter. That's
without knowing, yeah, as I say, without knowing a great deal else, I'm not sure what I can say on that. I'm sure this information's all out there, but and they've even put their own YouTube videos up with tutorials and things. So,
right, yeah.
So there's probably some stuff you can say, but probably not opinions. It needs polish. No one. I guess that's what I'd say. It's clearly alpha, but it's it could be good. So what else we got? I guess the main thing I've been playing is that new hotness. That sweet, delicious Doom.
It is 1 month old hotness.
Doom. So fill us in.
It's pretty good.
Is it a proper throwback? Are you feeling like you did in the 90s?
Absolutely. Like that game feels so much like the original Doom, and like that it's not so much that it feels like those games in terms of how you play it, but the feeling it gives you is the same. It's like it's clear that you're playing a modern game, like in how it handles and how it feels and how the shooting works out and stuff like that. But the structure and the style is straight out of like Doom and Quake 2 and id's early days. It's that awesome. Through and through, and I love that. It's like I had my classic reservations and stuff like that, but we'll come to that. It's like it is just that it's that same. We're going to have a room full of enemies. Like work your way through it as best you can. The odds are overwhelming, but you'll somehow find a way to get through. And then mixed with like plenty of downtime to be like, okay, there's probably a lot of stuff hidden in this very nicely detailed environment. Let's go find it out and stuff like that. And yeah, the secret hunting can be quite fun sometimes. But it does lead me to my first like negative, I think, in that actually I don't think the ratio between secrets to fights is in the favor of fights. I want more fights and slightly less wandering around the level to find out how to get to that platform up there,
right?
Or how to get to that icon on my map. Because it gets to a point fairly early on, you can unlock the ability to actually see where most of the secrets are just on your map.
Okay, that's cool. I like that.
Or you get like in the vicinity of it, and then they appear on the map.
Okay. Are there any super secrets that don't appear? Or...
Yeah, there's one type of secret. So you can sometimes sort of tell this. So one of the secret types are classic maps from the original 2 Doom games.
Oh, yeah. I've seen videos of this. Yeah.
Yeah, and so they are basically literally like little bits of the original Doom graphics just shoved into the middle of this super pretty looking game. Right. So you just walk through a door and suddenly you're in Doom. Like, with textures and door noises and
nice
and everything. It's like occasionally you'll get bad guys to face, but those have actually been the modern versions of the bad guys rather than the original sprites, which was a little disappointing. It's like, what all the original? They went to the effort of making like the original pickup sprites, like putting those back in the game. Like I said, you can get shotgun shells off the floor and a mega health and stuff like that from some of these rooms. But yeah, and then they unlock something that I haven't checked out yet. They actually give you something else outside of the game to play as well. I don't know if they're actually just straight up you're just playing Doom or something a classic level from Doom. I don't know. I need to go check those out, see what that's about. But yeah, those secrets you can sometimes see the floor plan of where they are, but on your map, but you can't necessarily see what you have to do to get into them.
Right.
So I think on every level, there's basically a lever somewhere that you have to pull. And sometimes they make the position of the lever obvious and you've got to try and figure out how to get to it. Other times it's just a complete, it's just hidden somewhere. And sometimes the hiding place is really sneaky and or in pitch black. As I found one by accident once. It was just in a pitch black room, and it's like, oh, come on, that's kind of unfair, but I found it, so okay, whatever.
How are you supposed to find it in pitch black then? Do you just feel your way around hitting the use key as fast?
Well, yeah, you sort of
slide down the walls.
Yeah. You get a little prompt on screen when there is something you can interact with. So there's no point of just mashing E.
Right.
It's like if you walk up, if there's something to do, if you're near enough the lever, for instance, it will just say press E on screen.
Right. Press E to pay respects. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically. And then you open it, and then you get a cool little guitar lick, and it goes, and then a door opens somewhere to the classic map, which in itself can sometimes be a little bit tricky to find, but they're not normally too far away. The lever and the door are often reasonably close to each other. But yeah, that can be a bugger. Especially sometimes when like the one I was playing it a little bit earlier, and Zach was saying it, and it's like I'm pretty sure there's a classic map beyond this door here, but I just cannot find the lever to get into it, and it can't be too far away. And I found a point of no return on the route, so it's it's got to be somewhere in the level before here. So yeah, it's finding those is a bit of a pain, but everything else, an icon appears on the map. Figure out how to get there. And some so that works great most of the time. Most of the levels are designed so they're fully backtrackable, and some of the levels are actually quite sprawling sort of mazes upon which you sort of start just going around them and figuring out where to go, and then eventually you come across a locked door. So it's like, oh right, I've got to go somewhere else and find the key to get through that locked door. Very old classic. Doom style,
Very classic.
And those levels are some of the best stuff. But you are spending a lot of time walking around sometimes to be like, oh no, I've come down the wrong path, or hey, there's a bit of... Actually, what I find myself doing is checking the map super frequently and being like, oh, hey, there's a bit of grey over there. I haven't been that way. Let's figure out how to get there. Even if there isn't a secret item there, it's sometimes it's just let's figure out what's in this bit of map. And sometimes there's extra stuff to fight. But you do get rewarded for finding random extra fights. There's a mechanic in the game where so the modern element starts coming in here, and that there are upgrade points. So you can upgrade your weapons with stuff, and you can upgrade your suit with stuff. Okay. So, but as you do combat on the level, there's a little. You can earn up to, I think it's 5 weapon upgrade points per level just by killing stuff. So if you find all the stuff in the level, for instance, you'll get all 5 combat points or whatever, weapon upgrade points.
Okay.
So there's an incentive
to
just
how you want or whatever.
Yeah. So it gets to the point where your first upgrade for a weapon probably costs 3 points, and then the next upgrade will cost 6. But you're given a little bit of flexibility, as in so you can pick any one of the upgrades to do first, and then the next one will cost twice as much. So you're not stuck to a specific order of how you spend your upgrades, but you are upgrading your weapon with a specific attachment on. So you actually have to find this drone to give you the attachment before you can start upgrading that part of the weapon.
Okay.
So yeah, there's secrets feeding into more secrets, basically. It's everything kind of feeds into each other, and it works. It works, even if at first it feels maybe a little overwhelming, maybe a little too. I'm spending a lot of time in menus deciding what I want to do or looking at the map, rather than just ripping demons in half, which is so satisfying.
Yeah.
So satisfying. I thought... I
was a bit worried there'd be too much melee going on.
Yeah. So the glory kill mechanic actually works quite well, and perhaps I think it seems worse at the start of the game, which is probably most of the stuff that you will have seen will be from stuff near the start of the game, and it's because the enemies are quite weak. Right? You're only facing off against either the possessed, which are just mindless zombies, or the imps, which are really awesomely animated little dudes that throw fireballs at you.
Cool.
and they like move acrobatically, and like they have some really neat animations. Like they'll be running away from you, and they'll just hurl a fireball like behind them, and it's properly animated. It's not just coming out of nowhere and stuff like that. Or they'll jump into the battle and sort of throwing the ball midair, a bit like an American football pass, that kind of thing. It's like there's some awesome animation work on those guys. But they're quite weak, so it doesn't take a lot for you to stagger them and put them into glory kill mode. So when you do enough damage to them, they'll glow if you've got that element of the HUD turned on, and then you can just walk up to them and press melee, and you'll get the horrible animations.
Nice.
And and obviously, as you go through the game, you meet tougher and tougher enemies. You have to do a lot more damage to them before they enter a staggered state.
Right. Yeah. Of course.
So you're not just ping-ponging your way between enemies.
But is there any kind of is there any reason to shoot them then rather than do the glory kill? I guess because they're further away, or
so here's where the risk reward mechanics of the combat actually comes into play. Like you get rewarded for glory killing, the more hurt you are, the more health they will drop if you glory kill.
Right.
But the risk is obviously you've got to be up front you've got to be all up in their face.
Right.
And I guess a lot of the time that might actually put you in harm's way. And they do take a little bit of time, and you can take a little bit of damage, I think, when you're in that state. I've never actually been killed mid-glory kill, but I think you can still take a small amount of damage while you're mid-animation. But then, so if you like playing that way, but you're not that happy about it, eventually you unlock. There are these trials that basically work a bit like Bayonetta's little combat arena things.
Oh yeah.
And that you find these runes, and then they take you to a little arena, a little combat challenge, which if you succeed, then gives you like these mystical power-ups, of which you can hold up to 3 at one time. And they can have some crazy effects, and one of them just straight up speeds up the glory kill speed to I think up to 3 times. So if you want to jump around and do that more often and not be vulnerable, eventually you can
go for it. Yeah,
and it's super smart with all that stuff and how it all plays. It took me a while to realize it's like actually if you're in a lot of trouble, glory kills are actually like a get out of jail card. They'll you'll get You might get quite a lot of health back off just one kill if you get in the right situation. So it works. It's super fun. I'm not playing it on a hard difficulty. I'm playing it on its normal mode, I guess, which is
and
hurt me plenty.
Pretty tough. Yeah.
There are moments where it's tricky, but it's not been that hard to be honest, because I'm being quite thorough about secret hunting and finding all the upgrades and stuff like that. It is making me like when I finish it, and I think I'm probably 75, maybe 80% of the way through it. I think when I get to that point, I am gonna just bump it up to nightmare and see what it's like, and maybe do the super nightmare roguelike challenge, which is like you got to go through the game, 1 death and you're out. Which actually sounds kind of fun, and there's an achievement for making it through the first level in that mode.
Yeah, that sounds fun. Yeah. Hopefully it's like it's not like something like Halo 2 where the first level is the hardest one on
yeah. I mean it might be because you'll only have like the pistol, I guess.
Yeah.
The pistol, but you'll only really see imps on that first level, so
you should be able to deal with them, yeah.
You should be okay, yeah. Well, maybe, I don't know. It still might be ridiculously hard, I don't know. I'm having a lot of fun with this. It looks great. On my new machine, it runs perfectly.
Yeah. Are you running at like 120 hertz or whatever?
Yeah. It's 120 hertz, max settings. It actually has an options where you can make it run in Vulkan API mode instead of OpenGL, which apparently nets you, if you've got stuff that supports Vulkan, nets you an extra... no, I think Vulkan's actually like the open source one. Like, the OpenGL guys just...
Right, yeah.
Just made it. I think it is based on the AMD one, whatever that was called.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it's based on the ideas of the AMD one, but they just made an open version of it. Yeah, so and apparently if you run that, you can get a 10% performance boost by using Vulkan. So not that was a problem for me in the first place.
Not with your monster new machine.
No, I was running it on OpenGL for a while, and then they updated to add Vulkan, and it's like, well, I'll flip it over, see what difference it makes. And obviously, to me, it made no difference. I'm still running it. I'm running it at 1080. I'm on Ultra, and it never frame dips. It has. Well, that's a lie. Actually, there are some of the bigger levels when you can see the like. There's one level that has like a destroyed bridge, and you've got to kind of make your way across it. And it's like when you look at it from one side to the other, then it starts to drop a little. It's like the engine is definitely good at enclosed spaces and not open spaces.
Yeah, that makes sense for Doom.
Yeah, but it's very pretty. There's on a lot of the levels, especially when there's fire about, you get those nice little fire particles in the air, and they're wafting around, and
cool.
There's a lot of neat stuff going on, and it's it's a bit brown and a bit dark in places, but the kind of neon insides kind of contrast that just fine. A bit of me kind of wish that the pinkies and the cacodemons were a little more vibrant in their coloring.
Right. They're not. They're not quite original Doom 2 kind of.
No, they're not quite that stark. And I kind of wish they were a little bit more.
It's a shame it doesn't have filters or something like Uncharted 3.
Well, there is. There are 3 rendering modes that I haven't toyed with yet, so I'm just playing on default right now. But there is a cinematic mode and a gritty mode. Yeah. So I haven't tried either of those to see what they look like yet. There is actually an option for film grain, so I wonder if you put it in cinematic mode, it goes all grainy for some reason. It's a cool game. I mean, the styling is very over the top, as you'd expect. They play so heavy into the demon thing, and they go bonkers with the lore of this.
Really?
They go all in with just how crazy this is. It's like it's no secret that you're basically a god after your actions in the first 2 Doom games. You're treated as some kind of special being,
right?
Not just to the demons, as it turns out. You're kind of revered as a mysterious historical figure.
Right.
It's kind of awesome, and the fact that your character doesn't give a monkeys about any of this. He just wants to punch stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. It's so stupid, but in all the right ways.
So in all the ways that Doom 3 was too serious.
Kind of didn't, yeah. Not that I'm saying Doom 3 is a bad game necessarily, but this is Doom, right? This is actually in some ways this is actually Quake. Probably more than Doom in some respects. It's Doom in setting, but Quake in feel, maybe.
Interesting.
Yeah. Maybe if you wanted to be super specific, maybe and the music gives me a very Quake 2 vibe.
What the kind of 9 Inch
the sort of either the 9 Inch Nails or the it's a little bit so the ambient stuff actually sounds a bit like I get vibes of the new Devil May Cry.
Oh yeah,
in it, and I really love that soundtrack. And that was by Noisia. Who I'm big fans of anyway, but it's like they've taken some of the ideas of that, and then blended it with the Korn does dubstep feel, and it super works. It's awesome. It's obnoxious, and it's insane. It's everything it should be. This game kicks ass.
Zeg, are you going to play Doom?
Apparently, it scales really well to older machines as well. Apparently, it's very, very good at that.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought that going to happen anytime soon. I've got too many other things to do first, really.
It might not take you very long.
Well, that's true.
It's taken me 11 hours, I think, to get where I am. But you'd probably blast through it a lot quicker, I don't know. Or 11 hours to you isn't really anything anyway.
It's like a day. Day's work.
I haven't tried the multiplayer yet either, or SnapMap. I haven't looked at SnapMap. Apparently they did another free update recently to the multiplayer stuff, but no one seems very up on that, so I'm not that interested. But I will give it a go, because why not? I've got this thing now. I better see what it's like. But honestly, the campaign is so good. It's one of those things that the more I think about it, it shouldn't be good. because it is so basic in many ways, right? It is so you're just going through corridors. There's some stuff to shoot. You shoot it,
but it works.
But somehow I guess that's no different from the feeling of a Devil May Cry or a Bayonetta in some respects. You're just going through corridors until a fight happens, and then you have a fight, and then you do it again. I guess it's no different from a Halo, actually, in that respect. Like, Halo is that, right? The 30 seconds of fun theory.
It's no different to any game ever.
Yeah, I guess. But, like, there's just less to it now than perhaps even those, but it's like, it's better for it. It's like, it is the Bayonetta model. It actually is probably the closest thing to it.
Right, the closest analog, yeah.
Yeah, but in a shooter.
Nice.
So that's Doom. Highly recommend. Highly recommend. Might be my game of the year so far.
Nice.
And I haven't even finished it yet. And I hear the boss fight's pretty good when you get to the end. Doom! And that's all I got, really.
Cool.
Just dooming it up. I didn't go back to Tomb Raider. As I said I wouldn't. I'm done with that, as it turns out.
You're still waiting on your GTA.
Well, I wanted something a little bit shorter rather than an open world game, which is why I started on Doom.
Sounds good.
And but yeah, I will probably do GTA next.
Cool, yeah. Zeg, I think you're up.
Well, I sort of went back to XCOM 2, sort of, for 1 week, the first week. Not necessarily because I decided to not play XCOM 2, it's just other stuff happened in the second week. But in the week where I did go back to XCOM 2, it was kind of weird because at first I thought I was like getting over the hump, and it's like I speculated that maybe there was an early game hump to get over, and like it would get easier and get better, and it looked like it was going that way for a while. But then it turned out that what really happened was I just got lucky with the level generations that it had given me, and it hadn't given me any bullshit for a while.
Oh, okay, right.
Because then a bullshit mission turned up, and I was like, fuck. It was a particularly bad one as well, because it was like, I'd been doing these missions for quite a while, and like I'd even let one guy die. I was like, that was a reasonable death, so I'll let that one slide.
Was it dramatic? Was it like he led a noble death?
Not really. No, okay. It was just like semi-dumb, but it was like acceptably dumb. And I started feeling like I was getting things under control. And, I'd unlocked some new weapons and armors and stuff, and it was going okay. But then it dropped me into this mission where it airdrops you in onto the roof of this sort of bungalow, or like a really long bungalow, I guess.
Okay.
It's a one-story thing, but it's really long for some reason. And there's like solar panels on the roof, which count as half cover, so you're not completely exposed. But like, so it puts you there, and then the objective is like across the street and 2 houses up. There's a laptop you have to hack,
right? And
then you have 8 turns to do it. And I was like, well, that seems doable. That's not very far away in terms of like actual distance. But like, so the first problem with it was,
how'd you get off the roof?
Well, you just jump.
Okay.
It's only one story, and actually doesn't seem to be virtually any limit on how far you can jump. You just jump off the top of any building and you're fine.
Okay, cool.
The future.
Yes, it's the future. Everyone, even random civilians wearing plain clothes, can totally jump off any story of the building.
Nice.
If necessary. They all have super shoes, clearly.
Could you do that in the last one?
Filled with that honey goodness.
All the honey.
Sorry, Dad, I'm talking about honey. What did you say?
No, I just wondering if you could do that in the last one, because I remember having ladders and stuff.
Well, there's ladders, of course, but it's just like you can always jump. I think even in the previous game, you could always jump off.
Just jump off, right?
Yeah, I think I can remember that. Yeah,
but yeah. So the first problem with this mission was that because it's such a tiny level, you're basically going to fight every alien at once because they all spawn basically right there. So that was the first problem with it being really small. That I didn't realise until I started moving forwards. It's like, oh, I've just discovered 3 groups of enemies. Shit. But then the second problem with it, which was where I was annoyed by the bullshit again, was like, you have to hack this laptop. And it's a mission objective, so I'm assuming you still have to get next to it. I'm still not conclusively convinced that you can't hack it with the robot, but I need to do some more experiments. But you have to get to this laptop to hack it, and I was like, 8 turns, that doesn't seem too far, it's probably fine. And then once all the enemies appear, I'm like, okay, this is going to be a bit more difficult. I'm going to have to, just basically run someone past them and stay in high cover as much as possible and hope they don't get shot. But then once I run someone right up next to the house with, 2 turns to go, I realised that the laptop is in the upstairs bedroom. And for no apparent reason, the stairs in this house start from the furthest back corner of this house that it's possible to be in. So it's even though I got there as fast as I could, it was this is still going to take a whole nother 2 turns to actually get into the house, get to the stairs at the back of the house, go up the stairs, get into this room with the laptop, and I have to be able to still have a movement left to actually hack the laptop.
Sure.
And then it's just goddammit, it's this bullshit again.
It's actually impossible?
Well, it might be possible if I'd known in advance how ridiculous it was.
What the house was laid out like. But still, that sounds like you would have had to max speed it, right?
Yeah.
Just screw the enemies, I need to run.
So this was one of the things that
that's kind of bad.
Yeah. This is one of the, a couple of theories that I might want to go back and test. Because at that point, I basically stopped playing again.
Yeah. I can see why.
If you reduce the difficulty, does it give you more time? Or does it
just
make the enemies...
yeah. And I'm only playing on normal difficulty. I'm not playing... I think there is an easier one. But there's definitely harder ones.
Yeah, you're playing on its intended setting. Then.
Yeah. But so there's a couple of theories that I might want to go back and experiment with. The first thing that I thought of is that I'm not entirely convinced that you can't hack the mission objectives with the robot. Because that was my original complaint about those. You had to be adjacent to the thing to hack it. But I started to think that maybe it's not just a range issue, it's a line of sight issue. Because when I fought that guy with the robot on that mission with the thing in the truck wasn't in range to do it, it's maybe he actually has to have line of sight to the objective as well as being close enough. That could be a reason that would stop the robots from being able to do it. I don't know. So I probably want to experiment with that again at some point. Basically, in this level, I think this would be a perfect test for it, because you could basically just fire a rocket at the side of the house and blow out that whole wall, and then have a clear line of sight into the house.
And just hack it from afar.
If you can, yes.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I might want to test. And then the other idea that I had...
It'd be quite a cool solution, actually.
Blow
the wall!
Well, the destructible terrain, it's that kind of... Occasionally, there are cool tactics you can do with fixing destructible terrain. Occasionally. I did have one occasion where randomly something ridiculous happened, where there was an automated turret on top of a building, and I had one of my guys try and shoot at it to do damage, but not destroy it. But instead of shooting the turret, he missed and shot the roof out from under the turret, and it fell down and took full damage. It was that's weird. Wouldn't have thought that turret was that unstable. Apparently it's not really attached to anything apart from the one tile of roof that it's on. But yeah, the other theory I wanted to test was something which... It's a skill that one of your classes have, which initially I kind of passed over because I thought that it didn't seem very worthwhile. But it might be the solution to this problem, but in a weird kind of semi-cheese kind of way. I don't know. But one of the early skills in the Ranger tree, the melee class, basically. One of their early skill choices, you can pick this skill where, when your squad gets revealed after you come out of stealth, that any rangers with that skill don't get revealed. They stay in stealth until they individually get revealed.
Yeah.
So I was thinking maybe the solution to these turn limit hacking
problems. That's kind of how it should work anyway.
Well,
right?
Yeah. In theory, once one person is seen, it shouldn't reveal everyone.
Yeah.
Although I guess maybe the aliens are sort of making some kind of assumption about how many people there are or something.
I guess. But then they still don't know where they are.
No, that should be how that works. But yeah, maybe that's the solution to these turn limit problems, is to if you bring a guy with that skill into the mission and just have him be a solo guy who just tries to skirt round to the objective while everyone else is shooting.
Yeah. That could be a viable tactic.
It could be,
unless you just run into the enemy.
Yeah, it's like you're still having to like navigate the awkward like line of sight way it detects stealth, because it mentions it very briefly in like a tip in the tutorial. But when you're in stealth, it shows like any tile that's within visual range of the enemy, like it highlights it, so you know not to go to those.
If you stand on that tile, you're done.
And it also highlights if you're going to do anything that makes a noise, like breaking through a window.
Oh, okay.
So it highlights those as well. If your path goes through a window, it says don't do that because you'll be revealed. But then there's also the third way to get revealed, which is much more difficult to like work out, which is that if you move into a flanking position, if you move into a flanked position, so. Even if you're not in the visual range zone as marked by the tiles, you can still get spotted if you move into a piece of cover that's being flanked.
Right.
Which is, like, it's not really indicated in any way. You just have to sort of be able to tell from where the enemies are and what direction the cover's facing. I mean, the cover still highlights red, like, when you're in a flank position, like it does normally.
Oh, sure. Right, yeah.
But that's, like... It's not as obvious.
Okay.
And it can also still get you when you don't know where the enemies are. Because, like, you can run out, and most of the time... It's kind of weird. Most of the time you can see the sight range of the enemies even if you can't see the enemies.
Oh,
so, like, sometimes you can...
There'll be some indication.
So basically, if you're looking at the map as much of it as you can see at the moment, and you can't see a sight indication in a square, then usually that means there won't be a sight indication in that square if you move there.
Right, yeah.
But it can still be in a flanked position, so you could still get revealed that way, even though you didn't know there were enemies there. It's like, it's kind of awkward to do that second
I can see
mechanism.
What you mean. Yeah, because then, you won't know that it's flanked until you know the enemy is there, but you're not actually within... But that's weird, because if you're not in sight, does it matter that you're flanked?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, they should just... Surely that should override.
Yeah, that's a bit odd. I mean, I guess vision ranges are infinite, aren't they?
Well... No, because you do have squad sight for like snipers and stuff, don't you? So each individual person can only see you so far. It's just that for some reason when you're in stealth, like the detection radius for the aliens is lower than their sight radius, I guess.
Or bigger?
No, because like the detection squares that are highlighted as danger zones are like smaller than how far they can theoretically see, I guess. Because they're not paying attention.
But that also doesn't make sense, Why then they wouldn't see you?
Yes, exactly. They wouldn't see you in the flanked position. So, yeah. So maybe that skill is the solution.
Right at you, I don't know. But,
maybe that skill is the solution to the hacking problem. But it's still, like, isn't a very nice solution, because you're still essentially having to sacrifice one guy to not be involved in all the combat.
Yeah.
Whose only purpose is to try and stealth his way to the objective. Kind of awkward. I don't know. Maybe I'll try it. Luckily, because I'm not playing Iron Man, there's plenty of autosaves at the start of that mission, and like at various turns through that mission.
Okay, cool.
So I could probably just reload a couple of those and
give it a go.
Experiment with the rocket explosion technique and the...
That sounds like a good plan.
The stealth plan.
Seems like an appropriate point to try that stuff anyway.
Yeah. It's basically the perfect mission to test all these theories because it's such a small map.
And such a seemingly impossible target.
And, that mission was also a mission where a new type of enemy got introduced, which doesn't help when you don't know what you're up against.
It always screws you up.
And it's quite a bastard of an enemy as well. It's just like this enviro suit, like it's some kind of alien that can't survive in Earth's atmosphere, so he has a mechanized enviro suit or whatever. And he fires fucking acid grenades, which is extremely annoying. Well, actually, any enemy that has grenades is just annoying by default. But sure. Acid grenades also very annoying because then you get acid, and it does like it is sort of cool where it eats through destructible terrain as well. So like he fired the acid grenade up onto the roof, and then it just made a bunch of holes.
Oh, okay. That's
it ate through the roof.
Yeah.
But then, this mech suit dude has quite a lot of health, and for some reason he's unnecessarily difficult to hit for being a giant fucking 8-foot-tall mech suit, just like that 9-foot-tall blonde monster.
That is the dumbest mechanic. the whole miss system. It is possibly the worst part of this game.
But then the second annoying thing about this dude, after he's so goddamn difficult to hit, like, you kill him, and then the mech suit is also automated, so you kill the dude, and the mech suit just gets up and has another health bar. It's like, god damn it!
Wow.
Now I have to kill it again! So that was one of the other reasons why that 8-turn time limit, like, got a lot shorter.
Yeah.
Like, I have to waste, like, 2 whole rounds just shooting this one guy. So yeah, we'll see about that, I guess, maybe. But the other reason why I stopped playing XCOM 2, apart from the bullshit, was other things happened. There's been continuing to be patches to Factorio, and I've been continuing to play it, I guess. I'm not necessarily worried about the patches at this point, because they caught all the major stuff that I was worried about.
Okay.
But I've been playing through it. So I finished my first playthrough and got some achievements, and now I've started another playthrough for a different set of achievements. Essentially, you sort of need to be able to do like 2 or 3 playthroughs to get different like combos of achievements. Like the first run through, I did the sort of restriction achievements, I guess, like no laser turrets, no solar power, no logistics network. Did all them in one, because it's like once you've started restricting yourself, you might as well fully restrict it. And then my second playthrough, I'm doing the no handcrafting run, which is like slightly awkward, because normally you just run around, pick up a bunch of raw materials, and then craft what you need as you go.
Sure.
Because as you're running around your factory, you're like, oh, I need another grabber arm here. I'll just craft that out of my raw materials in my inventory and just smack that down. But then when you're doing this achievement, you can't. Everything has to be built in a factory. Which really essentially just means you just have to carry a factory around with you, and every time you want to build it, you just put the factory down, put all the raw materials into it, and then tell it what to build, and then pick it all back up again.
Fair enough.
So it's just slightly inconvenient.
Slightly more inconvenient, yeah.
But, at a certain point, I kind of already get to a point where I don't do much handcrafting, because that's just a cool way to play the game. You just make a factory to build everything and just have the robots ferry it around and like bring it to you and that kind of stuff.
Come to me, my minions.
So that's all cool.
So is that nearing completion now, you think? Like that game?
Yeah, I don't know. I think we discussed it last time, didn't we?
Yeah, we did a little bit. Yeah.
Still don't know how far they've got to go on that. It's something that is complete, apparently.
Apparently.
It's Starbound.
It happened.
It came out at 1.0 at last. That could be in the Game of the Year discussion, I guess.
Yep, it's no longer early access. It's in. This is the release version.
So yeah, that came out, and I played some of that. It was weird because I thought I was going to end up playing that in multiplayer, but a bunch of people did start playing it in multiplayer. All the usual people that I end up playing this stuff with, they have their server, and we went on there and we played for a while. But the trouble is, I don't think Starbound is actually that good to play in multiplayer, because there's just too much
compared to Terraria. You mean, or just in general?
Yeah, I guess compared to Terraria, it's sort of a similar problem that Terraria has, except it's sort of worse in Starbound, where it's just like there's just too much competition for loot.
Right,
is the trouble. And even though there's not really. Well, no, I think maybe that's what makes it worse in Starbound, is that because there's not very much loot that's, like, interesting, it makes it more annoying when you don't get it.
Right, yeah.
And also there's just, like, competition for...
It doesn't, like, loot a sign, then?
No.
Anything that drops is free-for-all.
Well, I guess nothing really drops is the thing. It's all just in a chest in the world.
Oh, okay.
Whoever gets there first and looks in the chest takes whatever they want out of it.
So is that a bit of a bugger if you're joining late?
Well, yeah. And there was a moment where it's like, oh, we found a dungeon that we can go into and get stuff, and then we go in there and it's like, oh wait, someone's already been through here and cleared everything out. There's only a few random bits and bobs left.
Yeah. I can see how that'd be really quite annoying.
So yeah, it's kind of not that great to play in multiplayer, I don't think. And also, like, there was a moment where we were like, oh, well, let's go and build a town. Except it was like, let's go and help this guy build a town. Because, you're putting up like the colony things that call the people in, the markers, I guess.
Mm.
You put the thing up, and then periodically that generates a rent, essentially. They just give you money or an item. But, like, that's not locked to any specific person. So, like, it's just like the honor system, I guess. Because one person could easily just go around and take it all.
Just go nicking it, yeah.
And so there's no real incentive for you to, collaboratively build anything, because it's just like, well, who's going to actually benefit from this?
Yeah.
One person or no one? Or
the entire crew has to be like, oh, we're going to bring it all back to this safe, and then we'll divvy it up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's just like, it's not really designed for multiplayer, it doesn't seem like. So I went and played a bunch of single player anyway, which is fine. I've been going through the actual structure of the story now, see how the progression is.
I guess that's all in place now, right?
Yeah,
the story and...
it is. It's kind of weird. One of the things that I think is kind of lacking is that some of the bits of the story do seem a bit weak still. Maybe it wasn't as ready as they thought it was. One of the main story missions that I went on was really short and seemed kind of like nothing to it. It was meant to be like an ancient puzzle temple or whatever, where you have to solve the mechanisms of the room to get through. Turn on all 4 of the torches at the same time, or hit the thing that opens the secret door and all that kind of stuff.
Does it go?
No, it doesn't. But then it was just that didn't take very long. It didn't seem like there was that much of that complicated stuff, and then there was the boss at the end that I didn't even realize was the last boss of the dungeon. I thought it was a mid boss, because it was this doesn't seem very big or dangerous. And then I killed it. It's oh, that's the end of the dungeon. Well, I guess I'm done with that then. So that was kind of disappointing. One of the main dungeons that wasn't that impressive. And it's I guess it's sort of a limitation of the system they're building in. Because if you go into the wiring view that shows you the wiring of active objects to each other or whatever, you can see when it's a puzzle.
Like a dev tool, or is it just part of the game? Or...
No, you can wire stuff together, wire a button to a door or whatever.
Sure.
Right.
I didn't realize it would let you see stuff that already exists.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's kind of. You're not necessarily meant to see it, but you can just switch to that mode and see it.
Okay. Yeah.
But you can't necessarily see what it's doing exactly.
You can just see it wired.
Yeah, you can just see wires leading into the darkness, and then there's some circuitry there that's doing something. You can't really use it to reverse engineer the puzzles or anything.
Right, okay.
Except for in certain specific cases where it's
where you can see it.
Where it's oh, this secret door is wired to something.
Oh, I see.
So I know that there's some way to trigger it. But yeah, you look at that and it's you can see that it gets quite complicated in some of the wiring. And it's yes, that's obviously when you're making a puzzle where you have to turn on switches in the right order. That is quite a bit of logic wiring to do, I guess.
If you're doing it within the game engine, I guess.
Doing it within the mechanics of the game. But, that's a limited system. So there's only so much they can do. It was okay when there's platforming sections and stuff where it's traps and moving objects and stuff like that. That's still okay. Combat is still a bit in there. You just hit things with a sword, usually, or shoot them.
So what does this mean for your height? If you're coming away, this is still Starbound.
Yeah.
Rather than some big revelatory thing. Are you still? How does this make you feel about Terraria 2?
Well,
are you now hyped for that? Has this not?
Weird,
not tick the box.
The secondary situations with the other versions of Terraria that are still happening, and it's just no one really knows what's going on. There was another fucking Terraria patch not long after Starbound came out.
No, really?
Actual content for Terraria again.
Huh.
And they still claim they're still going to continue working on even more. Supposedly the next patch after this one is actually going to have a lot more content than this one did.
Yeah, weird.
It's well, that's good. I guess I can go back to Terraria again at some point. But yeah, Starbound is the other trouble with Starbound's progression is that the way it's meant to ramp up. I feel like they've put some of the stuff at the wrong end of the progression tree. When you're upgrading your ship, there's two ways you can do it now. You can do it by just paying money, basically, or you can do it by hiring crew, by doing like side quests for NPCs in your towns, which is all right if you just build a little town and then occasionally do those little. They're very like simple procedurally generated quests where it's like, a bunch of bandits spawn, go and kill them.
Go to this thing, do this thing.
Yeah. So you can get the crew that way and then level up your ship. But in order to actually build the ship upgrade, you still have to get the upgrade modules. You still have to explore, basically, at a certain point. But because of the way your ship expands and like rooms get bigger or longer or like new doorways open up as it expands the shape of your ship, it's like that kind of inherently means you don't want to build anything in your ship until you've fully upgraded it, because you don't know what the layout's going to be and like where things might be best put.
Sure.
So it's just like you're just shoving everything into random crates until the end of the game, where you're like, oh, now I can properly lay the ship out, but it's sort of too late because it's the end of the game. And the same situation is like with certain items you get, like one of the last. I think it's the second to last tier of minerals. You unlock the ability to make a scanner device that lets you see where the minerals are.
Right.
And it's like, at this point, I don't really need that because I can dig really fast. Right, I really needed that right at the start of the game where it takes forever to mine anything. Yeah, so I need to optimize the amount of time I'm spending mining by being able to see where the minerals are.
Yeah, I can see that one. I mean, the first point you made there with the laying out of the ship and stuff, like some of that might actually come from you being super familiar with the game at this point, right? Like do you reckon if you went into it fresh and like then the ship upgraded that way, perhaps in a way that you weren't necessarily aware of the first time, that you would really mind? Like, you'd just make a bit of a hodgepodge of a ship the first time, or you'd relay it out as you go.
Well, I guess
is that some of the joy of the game, but because you've been doing that already.
I guess, but you're still spending a lot of time like redoing things. I mean, just at the end when I completely rebuilt my ship from scratch, just like cleared everything out and laid it out fully. It was like that took a long time, but to do that like more than once as you're progressing through getting ship upgrades would just be sort of inconvenient. It's also just like inconvenienced by things that are just like elements that should have been put in the game where it would just make it better. Like when your personal inventory has like auto sort, but you can't do that for chests.
Okay.
And there's no like quick stacking or. There's a take all button to get everything out of a chest, but there's no way to like add like auto stack anything that's already in your chest with anything in your inventory or any of that kind of like quick transfer stuff.
I see, yeah.
That Terraria has
quality of life stuff, yeah.
And it's just really annoying to like open chests. And there's one thing that everyone bitches about that just like has never been solved, where every time it's not necessarily every time it opens, but like every time you warp to a new area or transition, I guess, it resets the inventory to the middle of the screen. So whenever you hit your personal inventory, it comes up in the middle of the screen.
Oh, right.
Which is obviously not convenient in any way when you need to see what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can see that's irritating.
And then when you're like opening chests, it's like you open each individual chest, but like that opens in the middle of your screen. And then it's just like it shows you a generic like icon of the chest, and it's like, which chest did I just open? I'm not even sure. And you can like when you're mousing over chests that are behind the window you've got currently open, you can press E to open those, so you can sort of work around it by carefully positioning your mouse over the stuff that's behind the inventory window that's obscuring your view. It's just like, that's just not very convenient.
Weird.
And like, once you start getting crew on your ship, they get in the way all the time because it's like they're just standing in front of all my chests and I can't open my chest because I keep talking to them. And even your pet, it's like, God damn it, pet, move out of the way. I need to open this chest that you're standing on top of.
So there should have just been two different buttons in that case. Like a talk button or a
I guess
use button.
It's just a lot of like minor stuff that it feels like has been done better in other games.
Right, yeah.
Particularly Terraria.
Which is weird, right? Isn't this half the old Terraria team?
Sort of, yeah. So, yeah.
It's weird.
I mean, I guess I built a bunch of cool stuff and made my ship cool and explored a bunch of planets, but, it's the same. They said that there was a lot more, like, mini dungeons and randomly generated stuff to put in the planets, but it doesn't seem like I've seen much that's been totally new. And it still has the sort of classic problem of like you go underground, you find the randomly generated thing that's there, and then you know that at that depth on that planet, they're all going to be essentially the same. That whole planet.
Wait, so like the other chest, the contents of the other chests, you mean?
No, I mean the loot will still be randomly generated, but the like mini dungeon structure will be either the same or one of the variations of that tile set, basically.
Huh.
So it's like, it's the underground like abandoned farm, and it's like, so all over this planet is just going to be a bunch of these small underground abandoned farms in various slightly different configurations.
Okay.
It's like, it doesn't really...
This is the farm planet.
Yeah, It doesn't really encourage, like, exploration of
a planet.
A planet.
Yeah, you go there, you do your thing, you get out, you go somewhere else.
Yeah, you basically, like, go down once to see if there's any interesting spawns and then leave.
I suppose, does it not work, like, are some tile sets easier than others? Like, could there be one that's like, I found a good one?
Well, yeah, I mean, it does seem like you occasionally get some that are, like, more lucrative, where it's like, this one, this type of mini dungeon I know always spawns a chest in every version of it.
Right, yeah.
So you can just walk around and loot the planet that way. But yeah, it's not really... Doesn't seem... The underground seems almost, like, worthless, which is weird. Because, like, when you're building stuff, you're just building on the surface, unless you want to build an underground base, I guess. But even then, you're not going far underground. It's like, all you do in the underground is go down there to get minerals. It's not really worth the trouble of excavating away through cave systems to see the little mini dungeons. Which kind of sucks. Because the big dungeons normally spawn at the surface. They have like an entrance that goes down.
So you don't have to explore to find them.
No, you just walk across the surface of the planet until you've looped, and then you know everything that's there.
Yeah, right.
That's what I always do. I just beam down, stick a torch next to where the beam down point is, and then just walk left until I find until I come back to the torches, and then I know that I'm pretty much done with that planet. And then you just leave.
You'd think they'd perhaps hide some secrets, right?
Yeah, you think so, but like it's because it's all so generic. Like those little mini dungeons have to be small, repeatable terrain that is just randomly spawned into the planet. They can't really make them specific enough to have secrets. Yeah, I don't know. And also, I haven't really found that much like unique loot.
Okay, yeah.
I've only found like a few things. That seems to be the main like lacking element.
You haven't stumbled upon something to go, oh, cool.
Yeah. I mean, I found a lot of different types of cosmetic clothes, but that's not really that interesting.
No. Any ridiculous
stuff, weird weapons.
In the sky weapons, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I found a couple. The trouble is that I keep finding, I find blueprints for weird weapons, but they're, upgrades of weapons that I haven't found.
Oh, right. Weird.
I found a boomerang that's, in the shape of a moon, except it's an upgrade of the boomerang that I've never seen.
That you don't have. Yeah, okay. That's a bit annoying. Yeah, but you at least now know that there's a boomerang.
I guess, yes. But how do I get it?
Yeah.
It's you should be able to craft the basic one, surely, and then the blueprint should be an upgrade that you find.
What you do is you get your crafting bench out, you put wood down in the shape of an L.
Yeah, exactly.
And then...
If only. So yeah, Terraria. It's alright, I guess.
It's not Terraria, it's Starbound.
Yeah, Terraria's alright.
Terraria's alright.
Indistinguishable.
Starbound!
As the case may be. No.
And also, with these continuing Terraria updates, it's I'll be done with the story of Starbound, and then there'll be a Terraria update, and it'll be, this will be the perfect time to transition back into Terraria, where it's much better and there's more content. And there's even, the last patch in Terraria made, actual quality of life improvements even there, to do with chest stacking, and, you can choose which type of evil generates in the world, because there's two types, basically.
Okay.
And it used to be random. You had to keep respawning the level until it randomly chose the one that you wanted. But now you just toggle it.
You just say, yeah, that makes sense. I didn't realise they were two completely separate.
Well, that only got added in one of the patches at some point. Okay. It hadn't been in version 1, but yeah, there's 2 different versions.
Huh, I have the following fan mail from the contact form on happysalad.net.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Yes.
We got an email. We need an email.
So it goes.
Or is it just spam?
Email. Send a message to what is our address?
I don't know. You're the one who set it up.
happysalad.net/contact us. Contact form apparently, and it says here. Hi there. You go by Zeg on the Starbound community, don't you?
Oh, we've already dealt with that. I was wondering
if you have any plans to update your mod.
Yeah, we dealt with that.
Oh, yeah. We talked about that months ago. Yeah.
Oh, really? Why did I get this email 7 days ago?
Did they send it again?
Maybe. Yeah, they must.
Well, unless they've sent a very similar message that is actually for the version 1.
Yeah.
It says, with Starbound 1.0, it seems ships are limited to Erchius for fuel, which is only found on moons. If you don't, I'd be willing to try and update this and give you credit for your mod. Could you put it under a Creative Commons license?
Wait, hang on a minute. Which mod is he talking about?
It says Real Power mod.
Oh, the Real Power.
There you go.
Oh man, that's
he wants me to update. Like the scanner mod that I made is basically obsolete because there's now actual scanners in the game, even though they're late game. But I guess
they're still there.
They exist. Whereas Real Power was like.
Do you want me to forward this to you?
No. The thing with Real Power. Well, no. The trouble with Real Power, the mod that I made. It was like a very incomplete mod, and the only thing it did was make ship power, basically. Like, basically what I managed to program was solar panels, and with a lot of programming effort, I made them so that they only work during the daytime, which was a lot more difficult than you would think.
Yeah, you told me about that.
And then they they charged up batteries, and then you could feed the batteries into the ship engine to act as fuel. That was all the mod did. I had big plans, of course, as you always do, for like other things that could be linked into this wire network and power drain and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it sounds like this guy wants you to come up with more ways of powering ships.
Well, the thing is, like, what he's saying is that, like, now ships can only be fueled with the Erchius fuel that you mine from moons. And it's like, that's true. And, I mean, technically that's always been true. Like, even when I made that mod, that was still the case. The only reason that I made these batteries that could power your ship was because it was easy. Because I could just program the ship and, like, program the battery and say, this can be used as a fuel. And you just put it in the ship and it works. Even though it's dumb because the batteries are, like, absorbed by the ship somehow. You don't get the batteries back.
Okay.
They just get consumed.
Just burn it. They just chuck them on a fire.
Yeah, exactly. You just throw these batteries into a nuclear furnace of some kind, and then it absorbs the power out of them. But so yeah, like that's true that they can only be powered by the moon. But the whole point is that the moons are only there to exist to give you the fuel for the ship.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like it's not actually a problem.
But this guy obviously doesn't like the moon.
Well, they did change the moon slightly for version 1, where basically you beam down onto the moon. It doesn't generate anything apart from terrain and the ore that is the fuel. So there's no reason to explore or anything.
No, just get what
you're only looking for fuel.
Yeah.
And basically, as you mine fuel, a slow-moving, invincible enemy chases you. So, like, it gradually follows you as you move around.
Oh, I see. Right, okay.
So it's like it's not actually difficult to basically beam down to a moon and just only run in one direction and just mine whatever is right at the surface. It's like it's not actually a problem.
But it is a bit of a time waster, I guess. Like, could it be tedious? Or?
Well, not any more tedious than waiting for solar panels to charge off a battery, I'd say.
Yeah, but that sort of happens while you're doing other things.
I guess it does. But also, like, if you get crew in your ship, they can upgrade your fuel efficiency so it can use even less fuel to travel. And there doesn't seem to be a limit, which is weird.
What, so you can just keep making it more and more efficient?
It seems like it. Like, I've had these 4 engineers on my ship and 2 other types of engineers. I don't understand what the distinction with these 2 types of engineers are. They're like, one of them's orange and one of them's blue. But one of them upgrades fuel efficiency and one of them upgrades fuel capacity. And every time I beam up to my ship, they all come and tell me that they've done it. And it's like, is this ever going to Like, we've increased fuel efficiency 10% again, and 4 times, and every time I've been to my ship. So it's like, am I eventually just not going to spend any fuel to go anywhere? It seems like it, because there doesn't seem to be any limit. Like, the fuel capacity just keeps going up over and over.
Nice.
So yeah, basically fuel mining is essentially irrelevant. And honestly, you're not going to use that much fuel anyway, because there's no reason to travel further than the shortest distance you can. Unless, I guess, you've, like, been on the forums and seen someone posted the coordinates to an interesting-looking planet.
Okay.
But they're not, because they're all identical. It can't be any more interesting than one other planet further over than where you are.
So is the map fixed then? Like, if you said the coordinates, like,
well, it's procedurally generated off a seed. So
right, yeah. So it's the same.
You can input the coordinates and find the same planet.
Yeah, but where you start is different.
Yeah, you'll spawn somewhere else.
Okay, so it's the No Man's Sky model.
Essentially, yes. But yeah, it's like...
You still hype for No Man's Sky? So to move off? Yeah. Like, because... I guess it's like there has been some gameplay getting.
Well, yeah, I've been continuing to not pay attention.
Still Media Blackout. Okay, good. Because I hadn't either.
Doing well.
I was thinking about the pre-order problem again, because it's like you can, I realised that you can't buy the PC version anywhere apart from Steam. Well, no, I'm pretty sure you can only get it through Steam.
What, there's no disc version? You mean?
Yeah, there's no disc version. Is basically what I was thinking about, because that I said I didn't want the pre-order because I didn't really care about having a bonus ship at the start, because I thought I want to play the game. Yeah, I don't want to just be given free shit.
You don't want to come into it with an advantage unless the ship is just aesthetically different, maybe.
Yeah, but then my actual thought started to become like, but if I don't pre-order, I can't preload.
Oh, yeah.
That's like maybe also a reason to pre-order, so you can start the download before you can actually play
it. Yes.
Rather than reaching the point where it comes out and then having to wait like another 5 or 6 hours to download. Also, my internet has been really bad recently.
It's a bit of a problem for an online game.
Yep. Well,
don't
know how much online. Yeah. Like maybe like Spore, where it's like when it goes offline, it doesn't really care.
Maybe, yeah. Well, I guess it wouldn't. Yeah, it might download enough nearby that it's okay, to know who discovered things.
Well, or it's irrelevant.
Yeah, or it doesn't matter at all. Yeah,
unless you happen to go back and see something that you thought you had discovered and see that someone else's name is on it now.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. My internet's been terrible recently. Not speed-wise, just connection-wise.
It's all those pipes.
It drops all the time.
The new pipes for your gas boiler, they're just not fat enough to carry that internet as well.
No, it was happening before the gas boiler situation. So
too much honey in your internet pipes.
Yeah, don't know what's up with it. It's getting really annoying. It's been mostly annoying me in Rocket League, though. Particularly when it's like,
well, yeah, we tried to play it the other night, and you just had full on disconnects, and it's like, oh boy.
Well, yeah, that's what happens.
That's no good.
It does that occasionally, just not. It's like normally it does it like once or twice, and then it's stable for a few hours, and then it does it again, and then the cycle continues. Although sometimes it's done it like 4 or 5 times in a row. And like last night when I was trying to play Rocket League again, it disconnected, and then continued to disconnect for like. The trouble is, sometimes it disconnects and then disconnects again and 5 minutes later.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm prepared for that now. I'm like, after the first time it disconnects, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to wait 5 minutes and see if it disconnects again. Yeah. And then normally it's stable. But last night it decided to start disconnecting every half hour, which is exactly the wrong amount of time for you think it's fine and then it goes again. And then you think it's fine and then it goes again. And it did that 5 times in a row over the next 2 hours, and it really started to get annoying.
I have to suspect you're a router in this.
That's my main suspicion as well.
Yeah.
But the trouble is, it doesn't happen consistently. It's if it is the router, I don't know what would be causing it to happen, because it's not
blue screening internally.
Well, yeah, maybe, but it doesn't it doesn't seem like it's overheating, because it happens at random times during the day or the night. It can happen at 2 a.m. when it's not warm, and on days when it's not hot anyway. And I don't know.
Well, it doesn't mean it hasn't got gummed up with dust, and it's not like the hot day that's.
But it's not that dusty where it is. Yeah. It's been dusted fairly recently.
Yeah. That means nothing. Could be inside.
But yeah, it's like my main problem with it with Rocket League is that what keeps happening is I start playing Rocket League. I go in and play some casual games, and I'm like, okay, let's go to ranked. And then after like two games of ranked, it disconnects me in the middle of a ranked game. I'm like, well, shit. If I can not play ranked any longer.
Yeah.
It's like I've wasted the uptime on playing casual. And then as soon as I go to ranked, it's like, oh, it's time for disconnections.
So you covered.
Sure.
Get any router.
Yeah, I don't know. We have to complain at BT and see if they can do anything.
BT do have new hardware.
Yeah, I noticed. It was advertised on the back of the Radio Times that was lying on the table next to the router.
Yeah.
It was like, oh.
Suspicious.
So yeah, we'll see about my internet connection, I guess.
House grouse.
Yep. But that's more or less all I've been playing, apart from very briefly logged into Guild Wars. Didn't really play it. But Living World Season 3 has started, so log in and get free access to that if you ever get to the point where you can play it.
Yeah. I don't think I actually logged in for any of World Season 2 or anything, but so I'm not sure I have any of that anyway. Maybe
we might have still been
playing
when Season 2 was going on. I still have all that to go through at some point, because I really only did the first... No, wait, that's not... No, the stuff that I unlocked isn't Living World. It's the transition to the expansion stuff that I never got round to doing.
Right.
I did the first map of that, but then didn't do the other 2 or 3 maps that there were. So I could do that if I wanted, I guess. But, Guild Wars.
Sort of don't care anymore.
Rob is not infused any longer.
No.
Disappointing.
I sort of don't like. I don't know. I had a moment where I looked at it and thought, "Oh, Heart of Thorns is 50% off at the moment," and maybe that would have got me back. Maybe, but it's like I don't think Guild Wars would have changed enough in a way that makes me feel interested about it. Like, 'cause I think, I got other games to play.
Indeed.
I got that GTA to suck up my MMO time.
MMO. Not even in multiplayer.
Not if I GTA Online it.
That's not an MMO either.
No, not really.
There's no massive about it, apart from the world. But that doesn't count. That's not what that means.
It's not what that means.
It's true.
It's massively, isn't it, technically? Massively multiplayer.
Yes, I guess.
You got anything, Dan?
Carried on with Day of the Tentacle, gradually solving the puzzles. Still funny. Metal Gear, I'm stuck on the stupid fight the skulls in the airport round 2 harder edition. I've got the D-Walker with the Gatling gun like you suggested, but I'm really shit at it. So I think I'm just gonna develop a machine gun and run around on foot like a madman, because like I was saying, the mobility upgrades that are my favorite, they're definitely really, really good. Like, because this fast sprinting means you can pretty much run around like a headless chicken and not get hit that much. So I think that's the best way for me, because I can't get D-Walker to... I've never really used D-Walker, so I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I go into the like sprint mode, and then I try and come out, and then the thing overheats, and then it rusts up, and I'm pretty shit with it, basically. So I think I'm going to try.
You do have to keep basically just calling more in, because the rust power that they have, like just wait for it to get destroyed. You can call another one eventually. Yeah.
I'm just really bad at calling. It really stresses me out trying to call in ammo drops and stuff while going into the menu.
It's not paused, is it?
No, it doesn't pause anything. If there was some kind of shortcut to like call a supply drop, I need to memorize the button combo so I can just do it.
I think in that section in particular, like you can be safe inside a building for a reasonable length of time.
Yeah,
if you get one of the upstairs rooms on some of the buildings, then just get in there, pop your D-Walker down, and go start the routine again.
Yeah, I might try going up on the roof or something. But anyway, I'm waiting to develop that, so and then I can finally finish that damn game, because that's like 2 missions away from the
you're not far from the end
thing. Yeah. And
presumably you haven't. I know. Yeah, of course, you won't have had some of the final storyline stuff. Yeah, until
no, I think that's just after that. Yeah. I mean, there's a new outbreak or something. But I can't remember. Anyway, it's getting towards the end.
Have you not had the? Oh, you probably haven't had one of the super creepy mission then.
Probably not.
Not really a spoiler, but there's a scene in the trailers where Snake's walking down a corridor and the light turns red and you can see his horns. Right.
No.
You haven't had that? Okay.
I don't think I've had that yet, no.
Yeah, that's kind of a cool, not really a proper mission, I guess, in terms of gameplay, but it's kind of cool story-wise.
Apparently you can turn into, Demon Snake. Did you know about this?
Yeah, if you're like a bastard.
And you develop nukes and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's quite funny.
Apparently, there's a whole transition, you can be sort of half demon and stuff like that.
Right, okay. Your horn gets bigger or something.
Yeah.
You get permanently bloodstained and stuff. It's really disgusting. Yeah. I really don't understand that blood fetish. That outfit for the what's her name is.
Oh, for Quiet. Yeah. What is
so
that
wrong.
About?
I don't know why anyone would think that was good.
A good idea. Yeah.
Anyway. Yep.
All right, cool. Let's wrap this up because I see a Kippers and a Jammy inbound for Pete's.
Okay,
cool. So thanks for joining us. Catch us. Watch out for new videos and catch us next time for the Saladcast.
Prepare for more Sonic. That's the sound of
Bye.
pizzas.
That's the end of the podcast.
See ya.